Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
Ashley's hushed voice floated down the staircase, each word sharper than the last. No, he has no clue. Stop worrying, Travis. I said I'd handle Clayton, didn't I? Her laughter was laced with dangerous confidence, and the faint click of the call ending sealed the air with tension. From the shadows, Clayton froze, every suspicion snapping into place. His wife wasn't just distant, she was orchestrating his downfall. Betrayal burned brighter than the orchard expansion he had so carefully built. The question wasn't if Ashley would strike, but how far she would go and what Clayton was prepared to do in return. Chapter 1. Clayton White squinted at the rows of citrus trees stretching along the rolling hills of his newly acquired farmland. A breeze carried the sharp tang of orange blossoms, mixing with the midday heat. He stood on a small wooden platform built for surveying the estate, wearing crisp slacks and a well-pressed shirt perfectly out of place for the dusty environment. In his early 50s, Clayton was trim, with salt and pepper hair suggesting decades of meticulous grooming rather than the typical wear and tear of a working man. If anything, the farmland's ruggedness only highlighted his polished demeanor. He was here for one reason: expansion. As the co-founder of White & Rosen Financial, Clayton specialized in innovative real estate developments. Some might call him cunning, some might call him strategic, but Clayton would say he was simply prudent. He'd spent months orchestrating this purchase, quiet phone calls, discreet background checks, and subtle alliances. He didn't spend money if he couldn't see the return in capital letters. This farmland was no exception. It was one piece of a larger puzzle, a jigsaw of strategic land grabs that would culminate in an exclusive vineyard-cum-luxury resort. He glanced at his phone, more messages from his partner, James Rosen, about finalizing the estate deal. Clayton exhaled. He had more pressing concerns at home, namely, his wife, Ashley White, whose behavior in the last year had become unpredictable at best, and worryingly distant at worst. Clayton's truck rumbled over dirt roads as he headed back to his city mansion. The countryside soon gave way to wide highways lined with billboards advertising sprawling suburban developments. He appreciated the irony. These developments were financed in part by the same cunning deals he orchestrated daily. All about the plan, never an impulse. That motto had gotten him far. At 52, Clayton was a study in contrasts, outwardly calm, patient, almost gracious in conversation. In business, however, he was relentless, a man who left no competitor unscathed if they stood in his path. He had meticulously built White & Rosen into a powerhouse, dominating key real estate markets. Yet, ironically, while he extended his empire's reach, his home life frayed. As the city skyline emerged, Clayton reflected on how he and Ashley had once shared matching ambitions. She was 45 now, with an enviable figure from daily Pilates sessions, an indulgence he had once been proud to sponsor. She used to be his biggest cheerleader. Lately, though, something was off. She was increasingly absent from social functions that once thrilled her, made cryptic excuses about lunches with old friends, and spent hours in hush-hush calls she promptly ended when he walked in. He smelled the faint perfume on the pillowcases. Not his. He noticed how she purchased outfits he never saw her wear at home, apparently for some charity gatherings she never invited him to. The phone logs her phone unguarded once revealed texts from unknown numbers. But if she believed he was ignorant, she underestimated the man she had married. Clayton parked in front of their modern mansion, big glass facades reflecting the waning sunlight. He stepped inside, greeted by the hush of a house too large for just two people. The echo of footsteps across polished marble floors reminded him of the emptiness that had taken root here. The staff was minimal, and he preferred that fewer prying eyes. Their longtime housekeeper was let go months ago, replaced by a weekly cleaning service that he rarely saw. He found the living room deserted, though a half-empty wine glass perched on the marble coffee table. A faint trace of a different perfume lingered in the air. From the second floor, voices drifted downward. Ashley's voice, animated, younger in tone, the voice she used when flirtatious or excited. Then another voice, male, definitely male, spoke low. Clayton's heart pounded, but he forced himself to remain outwardly calm. He approached the grand staircase, each step measured. Halfway up, the voices became clearer. "Yes, I can't wait for tomorrow," Ashley's voice with a laugh. "No, he has no idea. Stop worrying, Travis. I told you, I handle my husband. Just trust me." Another laugh. "Yes, yes. Right. Kisses." Clayton heard the beep as she ended the call. He inhaled, letting cold anger settle. So his suspicions about an affair with a man named Travis were founded. The only question, how far had it gone? And how deeply was their daughter, Amy White, freshly 19, entangled in these new changes at home? Amy was finishing her first year at a local private university, courtesy of a scholarship combining her father's partial donation and her decent academic record. She was brilliant, but carried a rebellious streak that Ashley often encouraged. Lately, Amy had grown distant from Clayton, as if aligned with her mother in some unspoken plan. He was determined to find out. He reached the top of the stairs, stepping onto the plush corridor that led to the master suite. The door was ajar. Ashley's phone call presumably concluded. He peeked in. She stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, phone in hand, a secretive smile on her face. She wore a fitted dress he'd never seen before. So that explained the empty house. Earlier in the day, she was out meeting Travis. Something flickered in Clayton's memory. An email from a friend at a different real estate firm about an under-the-table deal Travis Michaels was orchestrating. Could Travis be the same man involved with Ashley? And did Ashley know of Travis's business dealings that directly threatened White and Rosen's expansion plans? The possibility that his wife was not only unfaithful but also playing a part in undermining his upcoming farmland transformation ignited a deeper sense of betrayal. He cleared his throat softly, enough to announce his presence. Ashley spun around, face draining of color momentarily before she recovered with a brilliant, practiced smile. "Clayton, you're back early." She set her phone on the dresser with forced nonchalance. "How is the farmland?" "Promising," he said, voice even. "We'll turn a profit by next quarter if all goes well." She nodded, rummaging through a jewelry box, refusing eye contact. "I just got home from yoga." He glanced at her dress, at her newly coiffed hair that didn't match a yoga session. "Yoga? Yes. I see." Her eyes flicked up, defensive. "What's that tone?" Clayton offered a small smile. "Nothing. I'm just a bit tired. We'll talk over dinner. Unless you have other plans?" She hesitated. "I do, actually. I promised Amy I'd attend her friend's graduation dinner. She wanted moral support, but you know how these events are too noisy for your taste, right?" Clayton just nodded. Of course. Wouldn't want to intrude. He maintained his calm as she grabbed her purse and brushed past him. "I'll be home late." "Don't wait up," she said, a bit too breezily. He watched her leave, each step deliberate, as though choreographed to emphasize her independence. Once alone, he exhaled, letting the ice around his heart crack just enough for him to feel the sting of betrayal. She had no idea how closely he was tracking her movements, nor how soon her carefully curated illusions would shatter. Clayton rose early, heading to White and Rosen's downtown skyscraper before sunrise. He placed calls to private investigators, demanded updates, cross-referenced data about Travis. He also hammered out new contractual measures to ensure that if Ashley attempted any money grabs or divorces him for half the assets, she'd face a labyrinth of legal blockades. By 7:30 a.m., he was in the office penthouse suite with James Rosen, his business partner, a tall man with silver hair and quiet intensity. "I take it the farmland acquisition is final, yes?" James asked. Clayton nodded. "That's the easy part. The challenge. A competitor named Travis Michaels is sniffing around for a new orchard real estate deal that might block my distribution chain. And also personal matters at home, turns out Travis might be intimately linked with Ashley." James's eyes widened. "That's complicated, but you've got a plan, I assume." Clayton gave a grim smile. "I always do. She's crossing lines. I won't let her ruin everything I've built. The question is how far I want to push, because once I start, it ends only one way for them." "Them?" James repeated. Clayton's jaw tightened. "Ashley might not be alone in this. I suspect Amy's drifting into her mother's orbit, maybe dabbling in the same manipulative behaviors. I'd prefer not to crush my own daughter, but if she's part of an attempt to sabotage me, I'll do what must be done." James exhaled. "I'll stand by you, of course, but be sure you want to go down that path. Family matters can get messy fast." Clayton stared at the cityscape, morning sun glinting off glass towers. "Messy or not, I won't let them destroy me. Not without a fight." While Clayton and James discussed business across town in a cozy cafe, Ashley sat with her friend Diana, an attorney with an impeccable sense of style. "Clayton's farmland project? Travis says it's going to be big, might overshadow White and Rosen's entire plan. If Travis can secure the distribution rights, he can sabotage Clayton from within. And I can help, if needed," Ashley admitted, swirling her latte. Diana's eyebrows rose. "Help how? You're his wife, not a corporate spy." Ashley shrugged elegantly. "Marriage is complicated. I'm not out to destroy Clayton's entire empire, but I deserve more respect, more financial autonomy, and if Travis can push me into an ownership stake, then perhaps I'd consider a new future." She took a sip of coffee. "Travis is persuasive, and the electricity between us is unstoppable." Diana studied her friend. "So, you'd sabotage your husband's farmland expansion to ensure Travis's success? That's a line not easily uncrossed." Ashley's lips curled in a dangerous smile. "Trent hasn't exactly been faithful to me emotionally. He's married to his business. This is just me leveling the playing field, but I'm not telling you I'm jumping ship tomorrow. I want a backup plan. If Travis can dethrone Clayton in the orchard deal, I'd be in position to negotiate a sweet settlement from either side." "And your daughter? Where does Amy stand?" Ashley paused. "Amy's an adult now. She's a bit rebellious, but if she sees me forging a better life, I'm sure she'll understand. She doesn't worship her father, that's for sure. If anything, she complains he's too controlling." Diana nodded, but remained unconvinced. "Just be cautious. Clayton is no fool. He won't let you slip out easily if he suspects sabotage." Ashley checked her phone, multiple texts from Travis about meeting up that afternoon. She typed back a quick flirtatious reply. She'd feed him just enough intel to keep him hungry. Then she'd see how far he'd go to earn her loyalty. Chapter 2. Clayton strolled through the corridors of White and Rosen, greeting employees with a polite nod. Beneath the veneer of courtesy, his mind whirled with contingency plans. He had discovered early in his career that life was a chessboard, and every piece could be sacrificed if it meant securing victory. Right now, the pieces in question were his wife and possibly his daughter, though he hoped to spare Amy if she wasn't too deeply involved. He arrived at a discreet meeting room used for high-level negotiations. Inside waited two men from a private security firm, a balding ex-military consultant named Travis Jordan, not to be confused with Travis Michaels, Ashley's rumored lover, and a younger IT specialist named Rowan. "I want updates," Clayton said, no greeting needed. "Where do we stand with the surveillance on Ashley's phone and on this Travis Michaels in real estate?" Rowan typed on his laptop. "We've successfully cloned Ashley's phone. We see all messages in real time. She's been texting a T. Michaels frequently calls him Travis, setting up meetings at a downtown hotel. Also, there's mention of orchard expansions. Possibly she's sharing details about White and Rosen's farmland project." Travis Jordan leaned forward, arms crossed. "We also have partial recordings from her last phone call referencing leverage over you. Suggests she's feeding inside info to Travis Michaels, who aims to outmaneuver your farmland distribution network. If so, your orchard plan might be compromised." Clayton's lips formed a tight line. "I see. And about my daughter Amy?" Rowan scrolled. "We have limited infiltration of her phone. She's more cautious. But we did pick up vague references to Mom's big plan and making Dad pay for ignoring us so long. She's definitely aligned with Ashley on some level." "Figures," Clayton muttered, though disappointment flickered in his eyes. "Proceed with deeper infiltration if possible, but keep it discreet. I'll not have them suspect we're on to them until the moment I choose." Meanwhile, Ashley concluded another lunch with Travis Michaels at an upscale bistro near the financial district. She wore a navy blue sheath dress, sunglasses perched on her sleek hair, exuding confidence that belied any guilt about her covert dealings. They chose an outdoor table, plenty of foot traffic, perfect for being seen by the right people and not the wrong ones. "Your orchard plan depends on that distribution route," Ashley said, swirling iced tea. "Clayton's farmland sits right on the corridor you need. If you block him from building the required shipping station, his entire orchard vineyard concept collapses." Travis nodded. "Yes, and if I get the jump on that corridor, I can push him out, maybe force him to sell the farmland to me at a loss." Ashley sipped her tea, a slight smirk on her lips. "And how do I benefit?" "Because betraying my husband doesn't come cheap. I can offer you a partnership in my new orchard enterprise," Travis proposed, leaning forward. "Imagine you controlling a chunk of orchard real estate bigger than anything White and Rosen has. Freed from your husband's shadow." A shadow fell across their table. Amy stepped up, wearing large sunglasses and an annoyed expression. "Mom, you said to meet you here. Didn't expect to find you mid-flirtation with Mr. Michaels." Ashley recovered quickly. "Amy, sweetie, I wanted to introduce you to Travis properly. He's an associate in some real estate dealings I'm considering." Amy's gaze flicked to Travis, unimpressed. "So you're the guy trying to sabotage Dad's orchard project? I overheard you?" Travis half laughed, feigning ease. "Sabotage is a strong word. Let's say compete, effectively." Amy folded her arms. "And how does hooking up with my mom factor into effective competition?" Ashley shot her daughter a warning look, but Travis just smiled. "Young lady, your mother deserves more than being overshadowed by your father. I'm providing an alternative path. That's all." Amy was silent, processing. Then she asked, "And you think Dad will just let you waltz in? He's not stupid." Ashley placed a calming hand on her daughter's arm. "Relax, dear. Your father is busy with bigger things. If we move quietly, by the time he realizes, it's done." Amy turned to Travis, her voice dropping. "You're naive if you think Dad's not on to you. He's always 10 steps ahead. If you're not careful, he'll tear you apart. He might tear me and Mom apart too if we're not cautious. That's why we need a real plan, Mom." Ashley arched an eyebrow, impressed by her daughter's seriousness. "We have a plan. I feed Travis info. He corners the corridor. We leverage Dad's orchard failure to demand better terms or full separation with a large settlement. Everyone wins." Amy shook her head. "You sure Dad won't just bury us and move on?" Ashley gave a brittle laugh. He can try, but I've got secrets too. He's not exactly squeaky clean. And with your help, we'll build a failsafe. We can uncover any skeletons in your father's closet, neutralize him if he tries to freeze us out. Travis looked between them, intrigued. What kind of skeletons are we talking about? Ashley's smile sharpened. Perhaps shady deals, offshore accounts, hush-hush ties with local officials for land rezoning. He's built an empire in ways that aren't always squeaky clean. If we can find proof of wrongdoing, we have him cornered. Amy nodded slowly. Fine, but let's do it carefully. If Dad finds out we're searching his records, he'll nuke us. Let's start small, maybe see if we can get info from the old staff or from his corporate allies. Ashley agreed, feeling a rush of excitement like a gambler about to place a high-stakes bet. Yes, methodical. We'll recruit help if needed. Travis, you keep applying pressure on the Orchard Corridor. We'll handle infiltration at White and Rosen. Meanwhile, we'll secure personal evidence to keep your father from retaliating. Travis raised his glass in a silent toast. Here's to new alliances. Clayton arrived home earlier than usual, stepping into a tension-charged atmosphere. He half expected to find Ashley gone, but there she was in the living room, sipping wine. She wore a subdued expression, different from her usual practiced warmth. I tried calling you, Ashley said. You didn't pick up. He took off his suit jacket, ignoring her comment. Busy day. Ties up at the orchard site. She offered him a glass of wine. He glanced at it, then politely refused. I have to keep a clear head. Ashley tensed. You think I don't? I see how you come and go, hardly speaking to me, leaving me to guess your next move. It's suffocating, Clayton. Are we just going to exist like strangers? Perhaps it's best for now, he said calmly, until we figure out the direction of this marriage. She set her glass down too hard, causing the wine to spill slightly. We both know it's more than direction. You're controlling everything, money, decisions. I can't breathe in this. He gazed at the spilled wine, ignoring her outburst. You want more independence, Ashley? That can be arranged. Just sign off on certain disclaimers and we can separate finances. You can do as you wish. Stop pushing me to sign your half-baked legal forms. She glared, eyes alight, with a challenge he recognized from earlier years. I'm not naive, Clayton. I know you slip in clauses that freeze out my claims if we divorce. He didn't deny it. You want to talk about fairness? Then let's be fair about the orchard, about your friend Travis, about how your mother... She cut him off. Don't bring up my mother, she's irrelevant. I wonder, Clayton mused. I recall she had an affair that nearly ruined your parents' finances. Did you learn from that? Are you repeating patterns? Ashley's face flushed with anger, or maybe shame. Don't psychoanalyze me. That's not your specialty. Go play farmland mogul and let me have a life that doesn't revolve around waiting for you to come home from your so-called expansions. He gave a small nod as if to say, noted. If that's how you feel, maybe I should relocate to a condo near the orchard site, so we each have our own space. I'll set aside a monthly stipend for you while we figure out a formal arrangement. Ashley's jaw tightened. Fine. Run away. But don't expect me to sit idle. If you push me too far, I'll fight back. He studied her carefully. Fight how? She stared back, unblinking. I have information about your deals, your inside tracks, your alliances with local commissioners. You think that's squeaky clean? If you come at me, I'll come at you with everything you taught me like you always say. No mercy for those who stand in your path. A pause stretched between them. Thick with decades of shared memories turned toxic. In that silent standoff, footsteps approached from the hallway. Amy entered, glancing between her parents. What's going on? You two are yelling. I can hear from upstairs. Clayton forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Just a marital discussion, Amy. Nothing to worry about. Ashley gave a scoffing laugh. As if you care about her feelings. We all know you only care about your empire. Amy stepped forward, arms folded. Mom's right in some ways, Dad. You rarely talk to us, always at the office, acting like your farmland is more important than your family. We feel left behind. If Mom's exploring other options, maybe it's your fault too. Clayton's eyes flicked to Amy, noting the hidden edge in her voice. So you align with your mother, I see. Amy hesitated, then nodded. She's not perfect, but at least she includes me. You treat me like a child, ignoring my opinions, refusing to fund the college life I want. He paused. Oh, so that's it. You're upset I won't pay for that out-of-state private university you had your heart set on. Amy flushed, anger flaring. You have enough money for farmland expansions, but not for my dream school? You always have an excuse. Ashley cut in. Exactly. He invests in everything except his family's happiness. Is it any wonder we want out? Clayton studied the two of them, mother and daughter standing side by side, bristling with resentment. The old him might have tried to reason or compromise. But after months of suspecting their betrayals, a hardened resolve took hold. I see we're at an impasse, he said quietly. If that's how you both truly feel, maybe it's time for a more formal separation of finances. Let me speak with my lawyer about next steps. Expect some documents soon. Ashley opened her mouth to retort, but hesitated. Perhaps she recalled the hidden pitfalls that might lurk in any document Clayton drafted. Do what you must, she said at last. Amy's face flickered with uncertainty. Wait, Dad. That's enough, he cut her off gently but firmly. This conversation is over. He turned, walking upstairs to his private office. The echo of their argument hung in the house, lingering proof that their facade of a family was all but shattered. In the morning, Ashley rose, determined to reclaim some measure of control. She told Amy she'd be out handling errands, which translated to meeting Travis for a secret exchange of notes about White and Rosen's orchard expansions. The plan: if she could provide Travis with enough insider knowledge, he could outbid or outmaneuver Clayton's distribution deal. That would give Ashley an advantage, perhaps, to threaten Clayton with a messy scandal or forced buyout if he dared cut her off financially. She arrived at a downtown cafe, discreetly choosing a side booth. Travis was already there, leafing through some real estate brochures. He motioned for her to sit. So, he began, voice low, did you get the updated orchard distribution timeline from your husband's desk? Ashley withdrew a folded paper from her purse, an internal memo from White and Rosen referencing a newly confirmed shipping route. This might be what you need. Phase 2 starts earlier than he announced publicly. He's planning to secure that corridor next month. Travis's eyes gleamed. Excellent. If I block him by acquiring key property along that route, he's locked out exposed, possibly losing millions. Ashley exhaled. And me? Don't forget my end of this deal. He offered a reassuring grin. Don't worry. Once we secure the orchard corridor, I'll set you up with partial ownership. Then you can negotiate a lavish settlement with Clayton if he tries to divorce you. He won't want the scandal. Ashley frowned slightly. Travis, be honest. Do you plan to keep me around after you get what you want? He looked genuinely startled, but she recognized the flicker of cunning behind his surprise. Ashley, I'm not just using you. This is real between us. We share a common goal, yes, but also something deeper. She studied him. I hope so. Because I'm risking everything. If Clayton finds out, he'll burn me to the ground legally. He's that vindictive. Travis paused, leaning in. Then let's make sure we strike first. I'll meet with some orchard owners next week. Provide me more details from White and Rosen's next investor meeting so I can undercut them. She nodded grimly, thinking about the upcoming investor call that Clayton had scheduled. She'd find a way to eavesdrop, maybe ask James Rosen some innocuous questions. Unbeknownst to them, a figure watched from a corner table, phone camera capturing every gesture. It was Travis Jordan, the ex-military security consultant Clayton had hired. He had instructions to trail Ashley discreetly, gather evidence. As Ashley and Travis Michaels parted ways, Travis Jordan typed a quick message to Clayton. Got them on video exchanging documents, possibly orchard route details. Clayton's reply was immediate. Keep following. Need more proof to lock them out completely. Travis Jordan smirked. This job was easy money for a man of his skill set. Shadow the cheating wife, confirm corporate espionage. The only wild card was the daughter, Amy, who seemed equally cunning but often overshadowed by her mother's brazen approach. While Ashley conspired downtown, Amy rummaged through her father's private office at home. She'd timed it. Clayton was out for a bored lunch. If she could find any incriminating file or suspicious bank statements, maybe she and her mother could hold them as a trump card. She navigated to the heavy mahogany desk, trying random drawer keys from a ring she'd quietly stolen from the housekeeping staff last month. One drawer opened, revealing neatly labeled folders. Farm-equipped leases, land rezoning permits, White and Rosen financial summaries. She skimmed them, nothing overtly illegal or secret. Another folder, asset transfers. A quick glance told her it was a record of property titles moved into trusts, not particularly damning unless you understood the disclaimers. Finally, she found a smaller locked box. She tried different keys, cursing, then remembered something. Clayton always used a small silver key for personal boxes. She rummaged his desk, found it hidden behind a row of books. The box popped open. Inside were what looked like bank statements from an overseas account. The header read, Geneva Private Holdings. Amy's breath caught. Could this be an illicit offshore fund? If so, this was the golden ticket leverage to blackmail him. She snapped photos with her phone. Yes, she muttered softly, adrenaline pumping. We can use this to keep him from throwing us out. But then her phone buzzed Diana calling. She froze. Hello? Diana's urgent voice came through. Amy, you need to get out of that office now. Your father's on his way, and I heard from Ashley that we might have a security system alert. Hurry! Amy's heart raced. Shit on my way. She quickly returned the statements, locking everything as best she could, then rushed to the door. She'd barely stepped into the hallway when she heard the front door open. Dad? She whispered. No. It was someone else. A staff member? Possibly. She took another route, slipping out through a side entrance. She exhaled in relief once outside, the documents safely in her phone's camera roll. She had them. Now, how to use them. Chapter 3. Clayton tapped his pen on the glass conference table in White and Rosen's top-floor meeting room. Opposite him, James Rosen flicked through a thick binder of orchard projections, looking unsettled. We have a potential leak, James said quietly. Some details about our orchard corridor plan have surfaced among smaller real estate circles. Travis Michaels' name keeps popping up. He's making moves that eerily align with our not-yet-public expansions. Any idea how he got wind? Clayton's face remained impassive. I suspect Ashley is feeding him, possibly with help from others. I've set my people on it. James exhaled, worry lines marring his usually calm expression. That's more than just marital trouble, Clay. This is corporate espionage. She could cost the firm millions. And if Travis outbids us or blocks us, we might lose everything on the orchard deal. Clayton gave a short nod. I'm aware. That's why we'll strike first. But we must gather enough evidence to bury them if they try to spin a narrative or sabotage us legally. I've tapped ex-military security to track their movements, document everything. James swallowed. Be careful. This is your family. If word gets out you're surveilling your own wife, it could blow up in your face. Public sympathy might tilt towards Ashley and paint you as a controlling villain. Clayton's jaw tightened. Better a controlling villain than a ruined fool. Don't worry, I'm a professional. I'll keep things off the record until it's time. James set aside the binder, then said softly, I heard rumors that your daughter is also involved, some mention of her rummaging around the office. Are you sure you want to go scorched earth on your own child? Clayton's eyes flickered with genuine pain. I'd prefer not to, but if she's part of Ashley's betrayal, I can't show weakness. Perhaps I can salvage Amy if I find out she's only partially involved, but if she's fully complicit, she'll face consequences too. The conversation ended as the next meeting's participants arrived. For the rest of the afternoon, Clayton wore his polished CEO facade, but inside, the storm brewed: a father battling a sense of betrayal, a husband steeling for war against his own spouse. Ashley fidgeted with the flimsy hotel keycard, heart pounding. Travis Michaels had insisted on an urgent rendezvous to discuss a major shift in their orchard sabotage strategy. She worried about the risk Clayton's watchers might spot them. But Travis claimed they needed absolute secrecy. Inside, Travis paced, exuding tension. Ashley, we have a problem. I hear White and Rosen is doubling down on that corridor. If we don't act fast, they'll finalize next week. She forced a laugh. Calm down, Travis. We have inside knowledge. I can still feed you more. My daughter's rummaging around too. She might find something big, some offshore account or questionable rezoning approvals. If we can threaten Clayton with that, he might back off. Travis nodded, yet he looked uneasy. Look, I trust your intel, but there's a rumor Clay has serious backup, some ex-military guys tracking our every move. Ashley's bravado faltered. That's not good. He approached, placing a hand on her shoulder. We'll be fine. We just need to accelerate. If your daughter finds anything, push her to share it now. The second we have a direct link to wrongdoing, we can blow up his orchard plan and force a settlement. Ashley stared at him for a moment, then felt a pang of doubt. If we succeed, Travis, you'll make me co-owner, or at least give me a good stake, right? Not just toss me aside once the orchard corridor is yours? He used his other hand to tilt her chin up, smiling with what she wanted to believe was genuine affection. Ashley, I promise, I see a future with you. Clay's success is overshadowing you, but we can fix that. Trust me. She relaxed slightly, letting him kiss her. Inwardly, a voice reminded her that she had believed in men's promises before, including Clayton's many years ago. But desperation overshadowed caution. She needed to believe Travis offered a better future. Unknown to them, a cleaning cart in the hallway concealed a small camera belonging to Travis Jordan, capturing them exchanging documents. The moment Travis Michaels gave Ashley a new set of orchard sabotage instructions, it was all on tape. Another puzzle piece for Clayton's arsenal. Amy returned from her father's office, her phone loaded with pictures of suspicious bank statements. She texted them to her mother from a burner app, ironically worried about potential spyware from Clayton. Amy to Ashley. Look what I found. Looks like an offshore account in Geneva Private Holdings. Could be used to blackmail Dad. Ashley saw the text while still in the hotel with Travis. She replied quickly, Incredible, sweetie. This might be our silver bullet. Keep them safe. We'll talk at home. Amy frowned at the silver bullet phrase. Part of her felt uneasy about betraying her father this deeply. Yes, she was angry at him. But family ties still tugged. She remembered a birthday years ago when Clayton surprised her with a rescue puppy after months of her incessant pleading. That father was kind, caring. Could he be the same man who now threatened to cut them off? Nevertheless, she swallowed her doubts. She had already stepped onto this path. She'd see it through. She spent the evening sorting through the phone pictures, marveling at the large sums in multiple currencies. Her father was even richer than she realized. If indeed these funds were hidden to avoid taxes or to bribe local commissioners, that was major leverage. She typed a plan for her mother. They'd first threatened to leak the account details if Clayton didn't step back from Orchard expansions. Then they'd demand he pay for her college of choice and let Ashley keep a controlling stake in some asset. The more she typed, the sicker she felt. But she pressed on. He forced us, she repeated to herself. But she didn't know that the phone's every keystroke was mirrored on a screen in Clayton's private condo, where Rowan, the IT specialist, read in real time. The father watched from behind Rowan's chair, his face grim as he realized how far Amy had gone, even referencing silver bullet blackmail. The sweet daughter he once adored was complicit in a plan to destroy him. He closed his eyes, letting a wave of sorrow pass. Then Steele replaced it. If she wanted war, war was what she'd get. Chapter 4. Clayton spent the next week consolidating power discreetly. First, he arranged a meeting with Diana, not Ashley's friend, but a well-regarded attorney in philanthropic circles, someone who had once indirectly consulted for White and Rosen on a charity taxation matter. He knew she had an ethical backbone, but also a pragmatic side. They met in a subdued restaurant. Over brandy, Clayton explained his predicament. I suspect my wife is actively working with a competitor to sabotage my orchard expansions. My daughter is in on it. I have evidence of corporate espionage, personal betrayal, potential blackmail. I need an ironclad legal strategy to protect my firm and my personal assets, and possibly to bring charges if they push further. Diana listened carefully, her face betraying no shock. If half of what you say is true, you have grounds for divorce with cause, and also civil suits for damages. But it's messy, especially if they claim you're controlling or manipulative. The court of public opinion can swing either way. Clayton nodded. Hence the need for a thorough strategy. I want to give them no chance to spin the narrative. No illusions of them winning a sympathy card in the media. If they continue, they'll face total ruin. Diana sipped her brandy. I can help draft the documents, set up hush-hush talks with key media outlets to ensure your side is the main story if it goes public. But are you sure you want zero reconciliation, especially with your daughter? She might just be misguided. You sure she's beyond redemption? Clayton's face tightened. I tried giving them second chances. They're forging ahead with betrayal. Let them learn the cost. If my daughter is misguided, she can prove otherwise by stepping away from Ashley's scheme. If not, I can't shield her from the fallout. Meanwhile, Ashley realized that the Orchard corridor deal was moving faster than anticipated. She needed a direct strike. She arranged an urgent meeting with Travis in a parking garage, hoping the secrecy would avoid detection. But unbeknownst to her, Travis Jordan had a discreet vantage point with a telephoto lens. In the dimly lit garage, she handed Travis Michaels a sealed envelope. This is the Orchard timeline plus a draft contract for the shipping route. If you register your entity first, you can block Clayton from finalizing. Travis Michaels grinned widely. This is gold. With this, White and Rosen's orchard expansion is doomed. Once they miss that shipping route, their farmland synergy fails. And you, dear Ashley, can watch your husband's precious farmland dreams crumble. Ashley forced a giggle. All thanks to your unstoppable ambition. So, after the orchard deal, we finalize our partnership, right? He nodded, though his eyes glinted with something that might be greed or cunning. Of course. We'll sign papers giving you a share in my orchard enterprise. Then if Clayton tries divorcing you, you'll have your own wealth. He can't starve you out. Trust me. She let him kiss her, ignoring the uneasy feeling. She turned away, scanning the garage for watchers. No one in sight, she thought. But above them, a small device recorded every word and gesture. That night, Ashley returned home late, finding Amy alone in the living room. The house was dark except for a small lamp. "Mom, I got the info from Dad's hidden offshore accounts," Amy said quietly. "I think it's major. We can bury him with it." Ashley's eyes lit up. "Show me." Amy displayed her phone images. "Look at these transaction records, some suspicious transfers to a local official's shell company." Ashley's jaw dropped. "Oh, this is even bigger than I expected. If we threaten to expose Dad for bribing commissioners to rezone farmland, that's not just a minor scandal. That's potential criminal charges." Amy swallowed. "You think we'll actually do it? Send him to jail?" Ashley's lips pressed into a line. "He left us no choice. If we get him indicted, we can claim he's unfit to manage the family finances, angle for guardianship, or a forced buyout. We can set ourselves free." Amy tried to feel triumphant, but a small voice inside her whispered about lines they were crossing. She forced it down. Upstairs, in a hidden corner, a motion-activated device captured their conversation for the final puzzle piece. Clayton, from his private condo, watched the real-time feed with a heavy heart. So they were prepared to send him to prison if it meant winning. He took a deep breath, texts James. "It's confirmed. They have the bribery docs. Time to deploy Plan Omega." James responded. "Omega? That's your nuclear option, you sure?" Clayton typed, "They forced my hand. No mercy." The following day, an emergency notice popped up on White and Rosen's internal system. "Mandatory orchard project meeting at 4 p.m. The entire orchard team, plus key personnel, must attend. This included Ashley, on the basis that she was listed as a stakeholder spouse. Curiously, Amy also received an official-looking invite. At precisely 3:55 p.m., Ashley and Amy arrived in the corporate boardroom, uncertain but determined. The tension was palpable. They found James Rosen, a few orchard lawyers, and staffers. In the center, a large screen displayed the farmland map. Clayton was nowhere to be seen initially. One of the orchard lawyers explained an important update on the farmland corridor. They described how the corridor had been locked in by White and Rosen days earlier than publicly stated. "We have the final approvals from local commissioners." The lawyer's tone carried quiet triumph. Ashley's eyes widened in alarm. She turned to Amy, who looked equally shocked. Their entire sabotage plan was based on the corridor not yet being secured. If White and Rosen truly locked it in, Travis's efforts might be worthless. Right on cue, Clayton stepped into the boardroom, wearing an impeccably tailored suit and an expression of unyielding confidence. He took his seat at the head of the table. "Good afternoon, everyone. Let's begin." Ashley glared at him, fury in her eyes. "You locked the corridor already? That's not possible." He ignored her tone. "We found a small window of opportunity, advanced the negotiations, and closed the deal quietly last week. The orchard synergy is safe. Our farmland plan is unstoppable." Amy's heart sank. She whispered to her mother, "Travis is going to freak. We told him it wasn't final." Ashley whispered back, "This can't be good. Did Dad outsmart us?" Clayton folded his hands calmly. "So, orchard expansions proceed as planned. However, due to certain internal security concerns, we're restructuring. Anyone who shared proprietary info with outside parties is considered in breach. If discovered, we'll press charges." Ashley stiffened. You can't do that. Not without proof. Clayton's gaze bored into her. Proof is abundant. Amy saw him glance at a folder. She realized it likely contained all their incriminating text messages, calls, photos, recordings. She swallowed. This was not the moment to fight Hedden. The Orchard lawyers concluded the meeting with the official statement. Everyone filed out, leaving Ashley, Amy, James, and Clayton in the boardroom. The door closed behind the last Orchard staffer. Clayton stood, crossing the room to lock the door. Silence thickened. He turned to his wife and daughter. Shall we discuss the matter of your attempted sabotage, your alliance with Travis Michaels, and your newly discovered plan to blackmail me with fraudulent bribery allegations? James moved to stand behind Clayton, arms folded. I can confirm we have significant evidence, enough to bury you if we go public. Ashley's face went pale. Clayton, we can talk about this privately, not in front of your partner. No. It's time everything is out in the open, Clayton replied, unwavering. You wanted to drag James's firm into your sabotage. He has every right to see how we handle it. Amy blurted, Dad, how did you lock the corridor so quickly? We had the timeline. He let out a bitter laugh. Your timeline was a decoy. We fed you false data anticipating you'd feed it to Travis. Meanwhile, we quietly closed the real corridor deal. So, while you wasted your time on worthless leads, we secured the Orchard route. Ashley tried to compose herself, but rage and fear warred in her eyes. So you manipulated us. You manipulated yourselves, Clayton corrected. I just led you where I wanted you to go. Now, regarding your threat to expose my alleged bribery and offshore accounts, also decoys, or at least not nearly as incriminating as you believe. Enough to look suspicious at a glance, but not enough to hold up in court. Meanwhile, you fell for it, Amy hissed. So the documents I found were fakes? All staged to entrap us? He nodded. I do have some offshores, but not for bribes purely legal expansions. The ones you discovered are partial truths that lead nowhere. If you try going public, you'll face humiliation once the real facts come out. And the story of how you spied on me, betrayed me, tried to sabotage the Orchard well, that's enough to convict you both in the court of public opinion. Ashley's lips parted, trembling. So this entire last month, you've strung us along, feeding us illusions. You set a trap, a labyrinth for your own family. Clayton gave a small nod, unflinching. Yes, because once I realized you sought an affair, once I saw Amy joining your resentful charades, I needed to see how far you'd go. Turns out you'd go all the way to destroy me. Now it's your turn to face reality. James stepped forward, placing a thick envelope on the table. These are draft settlement documents. They outline new living arrangements for you, Ashley, and for Amy if she chooses. They also specify your disclaimers: no claim to Orchard expansions, no share in White and Rosen's profits, no further sabotage. Amy snatched the envelope, flipping through. And if we refuse? James exhaled. Then we proceed with public charges of espionage, corporate sabotage, defamation, maybe even conspiracy to commit blackmail. The evidence is overwhelming. You'll face lawsuits, potential jail time, and Clayton's Orchard plan remains unaffected. Ashley sank into a chair, tears glistening. You can't be serious. This is monstrous. Clayton's voice was soft but lethal. No more monstrous than the betrayal you inflicted. No more monstrous than feeding intel to a competitor, than encouraging my daughter to blackmail me. He stepped closer, face etched with controlled fury. Sign the documents. Accept a modest monthly allowance plus an apartment I'll lease for you. That's it. I keep the mansion, the orchard, and the corporate shares. Any attempt to fight me leads to complete ruin. Amy's bravado cracked. She turned to her mother, panic shining in her eyes. "Mom, what do we do?" Ashley glared at Clayton, but behind the anger was defeat. "We have no choice. We can't risk jail or total poverty." Her voice choked. She turned to sign the documents. Amy hovered, tears streaming, still unsure. "Dad, please, I just wanted a better college life. I didn't want to—" Clayton's face hardened. "You aligned yourself with your mother's affair, her sabotage. You threatened my orchard. This is the consequence. Sign or face the full measure of my retribution. The orchard is unstoppable, but your future can still be saved if you comply." She let out a sob and took the pen, scrawling her name on the final pages, effectively surrendering to the father she had tried to destroy. The thunder of resolution filled the silent boardroom as James gathered the signed documents. Clayton stared at his wife and daughter, tears brimming in both their eyes. For a moment, regret flickered across his expression. Then he masked it. "It's done," he said. "You'll receive instructions about your new living arrangement. The orchard expansions proceed next week unaffected by your attempts. If you attempt anything further, I'll release the evidence, and you'll be finished for good." Ashley rose, trembling. She took Amy's hand. They both turned to leave, knowing their life of luxury had ended, replaced by forced humility under a man who no longer saw them as family. As they walked out, Clayton closed his eyes, exhaling a breath he'd held for too long. He turned to James, who offered a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "You did what you had to. The orchard is secure." Clayton nodded grimly. "The orchard is just land. I had to protect myself from them. Now I have." He stared out the floor-to-ceiling window at the city below. He had won decisively, but the taste of victory was bitter. Chapter 5. Clayton Hart stood before the massive bay window in his private condo, a sleek, minimalist space he'd kept secret for years as a potential retreat. Now, with the orchard corridor secure and his wife and daughter coerced into signing their settlement documents, the condo felt less like a sanctuary and more like a war room. Outside, the city lights twinkled, an indifferent witness to his family's downfall. He took a call from James Rosen, who sounded uneasy despite their recent victory. "Clayton, we've isolated the threat. Ashley and Amy are effectively neutralized, at least for now," James said. "But there's a sense of disquiet in the firm. People are gossiping about your personal issues. Morale is shaky." Clayton nodded to himself. "I'll handle it. What about Travis Michaels?" James paused. "He's still pushing to salvage his orchard attempt, but without Ashley feeding him intel, he's lost a step. However, don't underestimate him. Cornered men take desperate measures." "Desperate men make mistakes," Clayton replied coldly. "We'll see if he's bold enough to continue." After the call ended, Clayton reopened the folder containing the espionage evidence recordings, photos, text logs. He felt no triumph, just a bitter confirmation that he'd done what was necessary. The orchard corridor's success was assured, and with it, White and Rosen's future soared. Yet the cost left a jagged emptiness. He flicked through newly arrived surveillance notes. A key highlight. Amy's phone indicates she's shown signs of remorse. In her private messages, she vented to a friend about feeling guilty, uncertain if she'd gone too far. This faint glimmer stirred something paternal in him. Despite everything, she was his daughter. Maybe, just maybe, she could be steered away from Ashley's destructive path. Clayton tapped a note to himself. Consider a separate talk with Amy. Across town, in the modest apartment Clayton had leased for them, Ashley paced the living room. She was used to marble floors and catered dinners, but now 4 bare walls and cheap furnishings confronted her daily. Amy sat on the couch, arms around her knees, staring at her phone. "You have to eat something," Ashley said, forcing a note of motherly concern. Amy shrugged. "Not hungry. Tired of ramen noodles and discount groceries. How quickly life changes, huh?" Ashley tried to maintain composure. "Look, we can't wallow. We have some resources left from my personal stash's credit cards Dad hasn't found." Amy looked up sharply. "Mom, you do realize he might be tracking every transaction. If we so much as buy a latte, he'll know." Ashley's mouth tightened. "We have to survive. Unless you want to crawl back and beg him for more allowances. You signed those documents, but I didn't see any clause preventing us from building a new life. We can still fight." "How?" Amy demanded. "He's basically pinned us legally and tarnished our reputations if we step out of line." Ashley set her jaw. "If we find a real scandal on him, something beyond that half-fake offshore account we fell for, maybe we can overturn his entire scheme. We just have to look deeper, or talk to Travis Michaels again." Amy flinched at the mention of Travis. "Do you really trust him? After all, he was using you for Orchard intel, and if Dad is cunning enough to orchestrate all this, maybe Travis is out of moves." Ashley's eyes flared. "He promised me a share in his Orchard enterprise. Maybe he's not done. Perhaps he has new tactics. We can't just settle for Dad's scraps. I won't be humiliated forever." Late that night, in that cramped apartment's darkness, Ashley typed furtive messages to Travis Michaels, updating him on the new living conditions, pressing him for any plan. She needed a lifeline, a chance to reclaim her sense of power. Meanwhile, Amy scrolled through old photos of birthdays, holidays, memories from a time when she admired her father. The more she looked, the heavier her guilt pressed. The next day, Clayton drove to a lesser-known orchard site on the outskirts of the farmland. He'd decided to personally inspect these newly finalized shipping routes, ensure no sabotage was afoot. Dressed in casual slacks and a crisp polo, he blended the image of a businessman with a landowner's practicality. He parked near a row of citrus trees, shading his eyes from the midday sun. A figure emerged from behind a truck, Amy. She wore jeans and a hoodie, looking out of place among orchard workers. Surprised, Clayton approached, suspicion flickering in his mind. "Amy, what are you doing here?" She startled. "Dad, I wanted to see how real these orchard expansions are. If it's truly unstoppable." He studied her posture, less defiant, more anxious. "You took a bus here?" "Yeah," she muttered. "It's not like I can drive Mom's fancy car anymore. She sold it for quick cash." Clayton processed that. "So, you're curious?" Her shoulders sagged. "I guess. I needed to see if you're telling the truth about everything. If your farmland dream is so important that you'd ruin us." Clayton inhaled. "I didn't ruin you. You and your mother orchestrated your own downfall. But if you want clarity, fine. Follow me." He led her through a path winding between orchard rows, explaining how the distribution center would funnel produce to major markets, how it integrated with White and Rosen's broader strategy. He also pointed out the new shipping corridor and the advanced construction. "They'll be done in weeks," he said. "Travis Michaels can't block this now." Amy listened in silence, occasionally nodding. "So it's real?" She paused at a cluster of young citrus saplings. "It's pretty. You know, I never realized how much work you put into these expansions. I thought you only cared about money." He gave a sad smile. "Money is a tool. This orchard is a legacy, something I believed our family could be proud of." He gazed at his daughter. "And you tried to tear it from me, why? Exactly?" Her eyes shimmered with tears. "Because we felt neglected, overshadowed. Mom said you'd never see us as equals, always controlling." She promised that if we forced your hand, you'd realize how you push everyone away. Clayton's chest tightened with genuine regret. He recalled the months, years, dedicating himself to building White and Rosen, leaving minimal time for family dinners or school recitals. I see. Neglect. I can't deny I was distant. But betrayal was your solution? A tear rolled down Amy's cheek. I was angry. I thought it was the only way. But it feels wrong now. Everything's gone too far. Clayton stepped closer, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. Amy, I never wanted to lose you. I wanted to provide a future for you. Instead, my ambitions made you feel invisible. She choked out a sob. You have no idea how much I regret it. But it's too late. I signed those documents. We have no power left, and Mom is still pushing Travis's sabotage. She's furious at you. Clayton's mind raced. So Ashley still conspires with him? Amy nodded, wiping her tears. Yes. She texted him last night about some new angle. She wants me to find actual evidence of your wrongdoing. She thinks there must be something real behind all your deals. She's determined. Clayton exhaled, paternal instinct battling the anger and betrayal. You can't continue. Step away. I'll handle your mother. If you truly feel remorse, prove it. Give me any details you know of her new plan. Help me protect the orchard fully. Maybe then I can spare you from further consequences. Amy hesitated, scanning her father's face for sincerity. You'd forgive me after all that's happened? He looked away, struggling. Forgiveness is a process, but if I see genuine change, I won't push you deeper into ruin. I want you to rebuild your life. But this sabotage must end. No more conspiracies. Tears returned to her eyes. I promise, Dad. I want out. I want to fix this. Their conversation paused as a farm worker approached with some documents for Clayton to sign. Amara stepped aside, mind swirling. The orchard, the farmland, it was all so tangible, so real, not just lines on a map or numbers on a screen. She realized the enormity of what she'd nearly destroyed in a quest for petty revenge. Guilt and relief warred in her chest. She concluded she'd find a way to talk sense into her mother, or at least sabotage Travis Michael's next move. Later that evening, Amy found herself back at the dreary apartment. Ashley was cooking a cheap pasta meal in the tiny kitchen, phone propped up with an open chat from Travis. The mood was tense. "How was your day?" Ashley asked, barely glancing over. Amy mustered courage. "I went to see Dad's orchard expansions." Ashley stiffened. "Why? Are you checking for weaknesses we can exploit?" Amy shook her head. "No, I realized how real it is. Maybe we shouldn't keep fighting. We already lost the corridor sabotage." Ashley slammed a pot on the stove. "You think I'll just roll over? After what he did to us? Humiliating me with those forced documents, cutting off my resources?" "No, sweetie. We push harder." Amy inhaled. "Mom, I spoke with Dad. He regrets some things. He might be open to a less destructive settlement if we stop." Ashley let out a harsh laugh. "A less destructive settlement? He'll give us pennies to keep quiet." "Is that the life you want, begging for scraps while he flaunts his orchard empire?" Amy's eyes pleaded. "Can we not keep risking total ruin? He has evidence against us. If we try more sabotage, he said he'd bury us, maybe legally. That's not an idle threat. You know how thorough he is." Ashley's face hardened. "So you're siding with him now? Did he bribe you with sweet words? Or do you forget how he's overshadowed us for years, how he let you down, never fully funded your dreams?" Amy's voice faltered. "I haven't forgotten. But this is bigger than that. We're at the brink of something irreversible. Don't you see how unstoppable he is?" Ashley's expression turned dangerous. "If you won't help me, then stay out of my way." She gestured to her phone. Travis has a final plan. Some unscrupulous orchard owners might be bribed to claim White and Rosen used illegal rezoning bribes, forging documents. If we amplify that scandal, Dad could be indicted. Then those forced documents become null. We walk away winners. Amy paled. That's insane. You're forging legal allegations? This is exactly what Dad predicted. Ashley advanced, her voice quivering with anger. I'm done playing the victim. If I can't beat him legally, I'll ruin him publicly. And if you won't stand with me, you're against me. Understand? Tears welled in Amy's eyes. She recognized the same manipulative fervor that had lured her into this mess. But now her loyalty had shifted. She couldn't watch her father's possible downfall when there might be a path to reconciliation. Mom, she said quietly, this will only end in disaster. Please, don't do it. Ashley turned away, trembling. Then you leave me no choice. I'll do it without you. Chapter 6. Clayton sensed a shift after his orchard-side talk with Amy. While he wouldn't let his guard down, he suspected she might be pulling away from Ashley's final schemes. He focused on safeguarding the orchard expansions from any new sabotage. That meant tightening alliances, double-checking each farmland partner, and verifying no hidden deals with Travis. He also scheduled a discreet meeting with Diana, the philanthropic attorney, who once offered balanced counsel. Over coffee at a quiet bistro, Clayton laid out the latest developments. How Ashley threatened forging bribery allegations, how Amy showed signs of remorse but was conflicted, how Travis Michaels still lurked as a threat. Diana steepled her fingers. Clay, your legal position is strong. The orchard corridor is locked. Even if Ashley tries to fake evidence of your wrongdoing, you can refute it with your legitimate records, plus the logs we have of her conspiring with Travis. So from a purely legal standpoint, you're safe. He exhaled, a fraction of tension leaving him. But what about the court of public opinion? She shrugged. They might try a smear campaign. But your firm's reputation is robust, and once we show they've been fabricating evidence, it'll likely backfire. However, be prepared for short-term PR damage. Clayton nodded. I'm prepared, but do you see any path to salvage my relationship with Amy? His voice involuntarily betrayed a father's concern. I can't fully trust her. She nearly destroyed me, but she's still my daughter. Diana offered a small, sympathetic smile. Offer her a real chance to redeem herself. Show her genuine support if she's sincere in wanting to fix things. But hold firm boundaries. She needs to face consequences. If you sense real change, maybe let her come back under certain conditions. He mulled that over. And Ashley? Diana's eyes hardened. Ashley's too far gone. She's orchestrating sabotage, forging bribery accusations, or at least threatening to. That's malicious. In my professional opinion, proceed with finalizing the divorce. She's a liability. After the meeting, Clayton returned to White and Rosen. He found James in a private lounge area, reading through some orchard revenue projections. We're profitable beyond expectations, James greeted him. Markets love the synergy with farmland. Investors are flooding in. Once we announce final orchard expansions next week, share prices might soar. Clayton's lips curved in a tense smile. That's excellent. Let's ensure no last-minute sabotage. Keep an eye on Travis Michaels' moves. James gave a short nod. We have staff monitoring each farmland acquisition for unusual activity. So far, no sign of infiltration. Maybe we've cornered him enough. They parted ways, both hopeful the worst had passed. But Clayton knew better than to let hope cloud his caution. He suspected Ashley had one last card to play. In the cramped apartment, Ashley finalized a plan with Travis Michaels over a phone call. Yes, we stage a press leak about White and Rosen bribing local commissioners, she explained. We'll produce doctor documents that appear to show suspicious money flows. She paused, listening to Travis's instructions. Yes, I can handle that. I'll approach a contact at the local news channel, someone who hates corporate greed stories. She'll run it if it looks authentic enough. Hanging up, Ashley opened her laptop, scanning the partial files Amy had stolen from Clayton's office. She'd merged them with Travis's doctored ones to craft a compelling narrative that Clayton systematically bribed officials to expedite orchard rezoning. If the story went public, White and Rosen's stock might tank before they could disprove it. Ashley's eyes glinted with grim satisfaction. He wants to ruin me? Let's see how he likes public humiliation. Amy emerged from her small bedroom, frowning at the laptop screen. Mom, are you sure about this? If Dad disproves the forged parts, we'll look like criminals. He might charge us with defamation. Ashley's voice rose in frustration. We're already criminals in his eyes, Amy. He forced us into that settlement. This is our last chance to break free and salvage some dignity. If we can cause a big enough scandal, maybe he'll pay to keep us quiet, or at least revise the settlement. Amy hesitated. Travis is forging documents. Are we sure we trust him? Trust him or not, we have no alternative, Ashley shot back. Besides, we keep copies of everything. If he tries to betray us, we can expose him too. She forced a reassuring smile. We're in control here. But Amy read the tension behind her mother's eyes. Ashley was more desperate than confident, gambling on illusions to recoup her lost status. Secretly, Amy texted her father from a burner phone. Mom is forging bribery docs to leak. Stop her or your orchard might face short-term scandal. Within minutes, Clayton replied, Thank you. Keep me updated, but stay out of her plan. Amy exhaled, feeling torn. She might not fully trust her father yet, but she couldn't let her mother drag them deeper into a black hole. At least she'd done her part to warn him. Travis Michaels wasn't idle. Realizing White and Rosen outmaneuvered him on the orchard corridor, he pivoted to sabotage. If the orchard's public image was tarnished, their investors might panic, opening a window for him to swoop in. He arranged a hush-hush meeting with local orchard owners and commissioners, hinting he had explosive evidence that White and Rosen used illegal bribes. He pitched a scenario. Join me in denouncing them publicly. We force a government inquiry, stall their orchard operations. He sweetened it by promising them stakes in his alternative orchard expansions. Some were intrigued, others nervous. But Travis needed a direct link, a smoking gun. That's where Ashley's doctored files came in. If he could pass them off as authentic, the orchard owners might sign on. The clock ticked. Though once White and Rosen publicly announced final orchard synergy next week, momentum would be unstoppable. So Travis gave Ashley a strict 48-hour deadline to deliver the forged bribery docs for a large-scale media release. One late afternoon, Amy loitered outside a cafe near White and Rosen's building. She had asked her father to meet. Nervous, she clutched her phone, scanning the crowd. Finally, Clayton approached. No bodyguards, just him in a conservative suit. He stood a moment, quietly observing his daughter. She spoke first. Thanks for coming. I want to say sorry again. I know it's probably meaningless, but I had to. Clayton nodded, voice measured. Why now? Amy swallowed. Because Mom's forging documents that claim you bribed officials. She's ready to leak them to the press or something. Travis is behind it. You have to stop them, Dad. He studied her face. You realize you're betraying your mother by telling me? Tears pricked her eyes. Yes, but I can't keep lying. I realize how far we've fallen. I don't want you destroyed, or us, in prison. I just want to fix something. Clayton's features softened slightly. I appreciate your honesty. It's a start. But you must understand, once your mother crosses that line, It's war. The orchard is the cornerstone of my business. I can't let her ruin it with false bribery accusations. If she tries, I'll respond with everything I have, which means burying her in legal ramifications. Are you ready for that? Amy trembled. I don't want Mom destroyed either. She's just lost. She believes you want to leave us with nothing. Clayton sighed. She left me no choice. But maybe if she stands down, I can avoid pressing criminal charges. The settlement stands, but at least she avoids jail. However, if she proceeds with forging bribery docs, she'll face the full wrath of the law. Let her know that. Amy nodded. I'll try. She paused, voice trembling. Dad, do you think I have any chance at redeeming myself in your eyes? He hesitated, then said softly, You've begun by choosing honesty over conspiracy. If you truly want to redeem yourself, keep doing the right thing, no matter how your mother pressures you. Time will tell if trust can be rebuilt. A wave of relief mixed with sorrow washed over Amy. She reached out as if to hug him, but he stepped back, uncertain. A pang of hurt flashed in her eyes, yet she understood. Rebuilding that bond would be a long road. They parted ways, father and daughter on uncertain terms, but maybe there was a glimmer of hope. Meanwhile, the 48-hour countdown for Ashley's final sabotage ticked relentlessly. Chapter 7. Inside the cramped apartment, Ashley hunched over her laptop, finalizing the forged bribery documents. She carefully inserted references to real commissioners, plausible transaction amounts, and plausible bank timestamps. Her hands trembled slightly as she realized just how illegal this was. But resentment fueled her the memory of signing Clayton's punishing settlement, of being cast aside from the mansion, of her daughter's wavering loyalty. She had nothing left to lose, she told herself. Travis Michaels called her phone, voice tense. Is it done? The orchard owners are ready to hold a press conference if we can produce genuine-looking evidence. Ashley exhaled. Yes, I have it. We'll meet tomorrow to finalize how to leak it. Then we go public. He chuckled. Perfect. Clayton won't know what hit him. By the time he scrambles to refute the docs, the media storm will cost White and Rosen big. I'll step in, propose an alternative orchard plan. You get your share, we both win. She ended the call, heart racing. If Travis truly followed through, she'd be free of Clayton's stranglehold. She closed her laptop and found Amy watching from the doorway. You're actually forging those files? Amy's voice quivered with worry. Ashley bristled. I'm perfecting them, dear. It's survival. If we wait for your father's generosity, we'll rot here. He left us no real alternative. Amy stepped closer, desperate. Mom, Dad has real evidence against us. If we push false bribery charges, he'll fight back. He's not going to crumble so easily. We could face jail for forgery. Ashley gave a harsh laugh. Don't be naive. He might have evidence of our sabotage attempts, but if we're threatening a big media scandal, he might cut a deal. I'll brand him a corporate villain. He hates negative press. Amy shook her head, tears in her eyes. I spoke to him. He's ready to crush us if you try. He told me to warn you. Stand down or face total ruin. You can't do this. Ashley's face twitched with anger. You're talking to him behind my back? God, whose side are you on, Amy? Amy's voice cracked. Yours, but not like this. I don't want to see you in jail. Ashley turned away, gripping the edge of the table. I have no life left. No wealth. No name. This is my only shot. If you won't help me, then leave. I'll see it through alone. Amy's hands trembled. She realized her mother was truly consumed by bitterness, beyond rational caution. Fine, she whispered. I can't watch you do this. She grabbed her jacket, tears flowing as she left, not sure where to go, but certain she couldn't stay. The next morning, Clayton convened a secret meeting at his private condo. Present were James, Travis Jordan, the security consultant, Rowan, IT specialist, and unexpectedly, Diana, the philanthropic attorney. They formed a makeshift war council, reviewing the timeline of Ashley's rumored press leak. Travis Jordan reported, Ashley is set to meet with Travis Michaels at a rented office suite later today. They plan to finalize the forged docs and coordinate with certain orchard owners for a press release tomorrow morning. She's not backing down. James nodded gravely. If that press release goes out, even if it's fake, it'll cause a PR nightmare for White and Rosen. Diana tapped a folder. We can file an injunction, but it might come too late if the story breaks first. The media might run it regardless. Clayton accepted a printout from Rowan. Here's the real evidence we have of her forgery. Text messages, recorded calls, photos of her editing files. Once she goes public, we can swiftly refute her claims and counterattack with the truth, likely leading to criminal charges for Ashley and Travis Michaels. But the short-term damage could still be significant. Clayton's eyes hardened. We launch a preemptive strike. We hold a press conference first announcing the Orchard Synergy's finalization and addressing any baseless rumors of bribery. We show partial receipts of legitimate transactions. We disclaim any attempts to smear us. That sets the narrative. Diana added, if Ashley or Travis tries to release their forged docs after your press conference, it'll look like retaliation. Their credibility drops. James looked uneasy. That humiliates Ashley publicly. She'll be painted as a desperate ex-wife forging allegations. Clayton's voice chilled. She forced this. She's about to commit a serious crime. I gave her a chance to step down. She refused. Travis Jordan coughed softly. What about Amy? She's caught in the crossfire. Clayton paused. I've had a private talk with her. She might not side with Ashley now. If we proceed, I'd like to spare Amy as much fallout as possible, provided she doesn't appear at that press release or partake in forging docs. Rowan nodded. We can tailor the evidence to show Ashley's direct involvement, not implicate Amy deeply. Clayton's jaw set. Yes, do that. She's shown signs of remorse. I'll let her salvage something of her future if she doesn't stand with Ashley tomorrow. But if she does, so be it. That afternoon, Ashley paced the apartment, phone in hand, waiting for a call from Travis Michaels. She felt a rising sense of dread but forced it down. This was the moment. Once they unleashed the forgery, Clayton's orchard dream would crumble, or at least suffer enough that he'd pay to hush it. A sudden knock at the door made her heart lurch. She opened it to see Amy standing there, eyes reed-rimmed. Mom, please, last chance, don't do this press release. Dad's about to do his own press conference, calling out any bribery claims as baseless. You'll look like a fraud. Ashley's mouth twisted. He's bluffing. He's panicking. He knows we might expose real wrongdoing. Amy stepped in, trembling. Mom, I know about the doctored screenshots, the phone messages you rewrote. They're not real. It's too risky. Ashley slapped her palm on the table. Damn it, Amy. You're either with me or you're not. I can't back out. Travis is finalizing everything. We go public tomorrow morning. If I back out now, Travis will accuse me of betrayal. I'll lose his orchard partnership. Then what do I have? Amy's voice broke. You have me or you could. But you're so blinded by hatred for Dad, you can't see you're about to ruin yourself. He's prepared for your move. He'll show proof that you lied. Sabotage you. Ashley fell silent, conflict warring on her face. Then she hardened. I'm sorry, Amy. I can't live under Clayton's thumb. If I have to take him down or be taken down, I choose the fight. You can stand aside or join me, but don't stop me. Tears spilled down Amy's cheeks. Fine. Then I'm stepping aside. I'm not helping you, and I'm not part of Dad's plan either. I'm just done. She grabbed a small backpack, her face a mixture of heartbreak and resolve. I can't watch us destroy each other. I'm leaving. Ashley's eyes widened. Going where? Anywhere that isn't here. Without waiting for an answer, Amy rushed out. She paused at the door, turned back as if to say more, then shook her head and disappeared. For a moment, Ashley felt the painful sting of losing her daughter's support. But as Travis Michaels's text buzzed on her phone, "Meeting in 2 hours, be ready," she steeled herself. She'd see this plan through. She convinced herself she had no choice. That evening, White and Rosen publicly announced a press conference for the next morning to celebrate final Orchard synergy. They teased a major reveal with top local media outlets invited. Meanwhile, Ashley and Travis Michaels quietly booked a smaller conference room at a local hotel, scheduling it an hour before White and Rosen's event, presumably to drop the bribery scandal first. Clayton learned of their timed approach through Travis Jordan's infiltration. The intelligence said Ashley and Travis planned to go live at 9 a.m., while White and Rosen's event was at 10 a.m. If Ashley's story dropped first, it might overshadow Clayton's. He grimly prepared to counter, but an unexpected message arrived from Amy's phone. "Dad, I'm leaving town. I can't watch tomorrow's chaos. Please be safe. Sorry." He read it, a complex swirl of relief and sorrow. She was removing herself from the battlefield. Good, at least she wouldn't be present for the final cataclysm. Chapter 8. Tension hung thick over the city. On social media, rumors swirled about big Orchard announcements from White and Rosen, while hush-hush whispers suggested an explosive expose on alleged bribes. By 8:30 a.m., reporters hovered around both venues, a grand hotel ballroom for White and Rosen, and a smaller conference room in a downtown hotel, rumored to host Ashley and Travis's bombshell. Clayton arrived at the ballroom with James, both in sharp suits, projecting calm confidence. Security detail was tight, anticipating potential confrontations. James carried a thick binder labeled Evidence of Non-Bribery, containing legitimate financial records and the logs of Ashley's sabotage. Rowan stood by with a laptop, ready to present digital proof if needed. Diana was there as well, prepared to handle any immediate legal questions from the press. Meanwhile, at the smaller downtown hotel, Ashley paced backstage with Travis Michaels. She looked pale but determined, clutching her forged docs. Travis pressed her shoulder in encouragement. "Once we accuse them publicly, they'll scramble. Then we feed the press these incriminating files. By the time White and Rosen tries to respond, the story is ours." Ashley nodded mechanically, adrenaline pounding in her ears. She felt a pang of longing for Amy's presence, but shook it off. She had to see this through. The clock read 8:50 a.m., 10 minutes to go. At precisely 9 a.m., Ashley and Travis stepped to the podium in the small conference room, facing about a dozen reporters. Cameras clicked, a live local news feed started rolling. Travis spoke first. "We're here to uncover a grave injustice. White and Rosen's Orchard expansions rely on bribery and corruption." Gasps rippled among the journalists. Ashley took over, her voice wavering slightly at first, but then she steadied. "For years, White and Rosen, led by my husband Clayton Hart, has manipulated zoning laws via illegal payments to commissioners." She held up a folder, brandishing it as though it were proof. "We have the documents, bank transfers, and testimony from orchard owners forced to comply." Reporters fired off questions. "Why come forward now? Are you motivated by personal vendettas? Where is the direct evidence?" Ashley forced a confident tone. "I was part of White and Rosen, intimately aware of their dealings. Out of conscience, I can no longer remain silent. These documents reveal suspicious payments. Just see for yourselves." She gestured for Travis to distribute copies of the forged files. Travis smirked, handing them out. "We welcome scrutiny. The timestamps? The bank account references, notice they line up perfectly with Orchard rezoning votes. The press began scanning the documents, expressions shifting from curiosity to wariness. Meanwhile, Ashley's phone buzzed in her purse, multiple notifications. She ignored them for now, focusing on the moment. 45 minutes later, at 9:45 a.m., White and Rosen's large ballroom brimmed with more reporters. Word of Ashley's bombshell had already spread. A tense hush fell as Clayton took the stage, flanked by James, Diana, and a swirl of Orchard project managers. Clayton offered no small talk. "Good morning. We're proud to announce the successful finalization of our Orchard corridor expansions. Despite attempts by certain parties to discredit us, White and Rosen stands firm on integrity." He paused, scanning the crowd. "You may have heard allegations just released claiming we bribed commissioners. Let me address that directly." Some reporters nodded, cameras rolling. On a large screen behind him, Clayton displayed an official ledger from White and Rosen's secure financial database, showing legitimate payments for Orchard-related fees. "Our books are open for inspection. These are the real records. No bribes, no hush money. Any claims otherwise come from forgeries orchestrated by disgruntled individuals." He then played audio clips, snippets of Ashley telling Travis, "We'll forge the details. We can show he bribed them. We just need it to look real." Gasps erupted among the press. Clayton continued, voice steady. "Those voices are my wife, Ashley Hart, and Mr. Travis Michaels. They conspired to create false documents, hoping to sabotage our Orchard expansions. Here is proof. Time-stamped recordings." The screen switched to a short clip. Travis Michaels telling Ashley, "Once we feed the media these fake bank statements, Clay will be cornered." Another wave of shock from the reporters. Clayton hammered the final nail. "I have more evidence. But for now, let me show you a direct comparison of the real Orchard finances versus their doctored versions. Judge for yourselves." James projected side-by-side images, revealing how the forged docs contained mismatched bank logos, inconsistent metadata. A burst of questions erupted from the press. "Mr. Hart, are you accusing your own wife of criminal conspiracy? Is this a personal vendetta or legitimate corporate sabotage?" Clayton's expression hardened. "It is legitimate sabotage. I stand ready to press charges if necessary. My Orchard expansions are fully legal, as any independent audit will confirm. White and Rosen thrives on honest partnerships." Another reporter. "How do you respond to claims from Ashley that your firm has engaged in immoral expansions or that you cut her out financially unfairly?" Clayton hesitated, then answered, "That is a personal matter overshadowed by her attempt to smear the Orchard project. The courts will handle any marital disputes. However, forging bribery evidence is a crime, plain and simple." Meanwhile, at Ashley's smaller press event, the reaction turned sour as details of Clayton's simultaneous unveiling and audio clips surfaced. Reporters began comparing the suspicious forged docs to White and Rosen's real records. Murmurs of doubt spread. Some journalists started getting text updates from the Orchard managers about the discrepancies. Travis Michaels stiffened on stage, noticing the reporters' shifting expressions. One after another, they scrolled their phones, reading Clayton's bombshell revelations. "Wait," one reporter challenged them. "Mr. Hart has just released audio accusing you of forging these docs. He showed metadata proving these are fake. Care to respond?" Ashley's face lost color. "That's a lie. He must have faked his own recordings to discredit us." Her voice shook, unconvincing. Another reporter frowned at the doc in her hand. "But these timestamps don't match standard bank formats. This offshore statement looks inconsistent with real Swiss bank letterheads." Travis tried to salvage it. "He must be forging counters. We stand by our claim." But the press's skepticism only grew. Some walked out, Others whispered among themselves, concluding they'd been fed false leads. Suddenly, an official from the local orchard owners group stood up. "I was told you had real evidence, but this looks doctored. Our Orchard Alliance won't stand with you on lies. We're done." He stormed out, followed by others, leaving Ashley and Travis under a barrage of scornful questions. "Isn't it true you have personal motives against Clayton Hart? Are you using your marital status to wage a corporate war? Will you face legal consequences for forging evidence?" Ashley's defenses crumbled. She stammered, "No comment," before fleeing the podium, Travis on her heels, both chased by jeering reporters. It was near noon when Clayton concluded his triumphant conference. He marched to a side room where James, Diana, and a handful of orchard reps congratulated him on the impeccable takedown. Clay gave a weary nod. "Let's not celebrate too soon. Ashley might lash out further, but we've cut off her biggest weapon." Diana pulled out her phone. "Media headlines are already popping up. White and Rosen disproves alleged bribery with damning counter-evidence. Accusers caught in alleged forgery." Clayton exhaled relief. "Good. Let them see who the real criminals are." James placed a hand on Clayton's shoulder. "Still, your personal life is in tatters, my friend. You have my sympathy." Clayton forced a small smile. "Appreciated. The orchard expansions stand. That's enough for now." A sudden commotion in the hallway alerted them. Through the glass door, Clayton saw Travis Michaels forcibly escorted by security. He was shouting, "Clayton, you arrogant bastard, you set me up!" The guards wrestled him away, preventing him from barging into the room. Clayton calmly walked into the hallway, facing Travis from a safe distance. "Yes, I set a trap. Because you tried to sabotage my orchard with lies. Next time, consider a more honest approach to business." Travis spat on the floor. "You used your wife to do your dirty work. You're no saint." Clayton shrugged. "I never claimed to be. But I protect what's mine. Now get off my property before I press immediate charges for trespassing and forging documents." Defeated rage contorted Travis's features. "This isn't over," he threatened low. "You'll pay for humiliating me." Clayton's eyes were ice. "Go ahead. Try. I have recordings of you conspiring with Ashley, forging evidence, even discussing bribing orchard owners to testify falsely. Your next move can only make it worse for you." Security escorted Travis out, leaving Clayton ironically calm. If Travis wanted to keep digging his own grave, so be it. That evening, Ashley slumped in the corner of her now almost empty apartment. The fiasco at the press conference had destroyed what little credibility she had left. Reporters were calling her out as a liar, and Travis Michaels ghosted her after his meltdown at White and Rosen. He wouldn't answer her calls. She found her belongings rummaged, presumably by him, who'd taken any dock that might salvage his orchard fiasco. He vanished. Panic clawed at her. She had no job, no alimony beyond the minimal monthly allowance from Clayton's settlement, and now a black mark on her name. The press was labeling her a disgraced socialite, a desperate ex-wife. She realized bitterly that she'd burned every bridge. She tried calling Amy, but it went straight to voicemail. Sinking onto the floor, she realized she had nothing left. No partner, no child, no illusions of reclaiming wealth. She was alone, with her regrets. Chapter 9. The following morning, Clayton Hart rose before dawn, standing on the balcony of his private condo as the sun crept over the distant skyline. Though victorious in the orchard scandal, a weight remained on his chest: Ashley's downfall, Amy's uncertain path, and the lingering bitterness in his own heart. Business might have triumphed, but personally, he felt hollow. When he stepped inside, James was there, wearing a weary smile. Morning, he offered. You haven't slept, have you? I'm fine, Clayton replied. I keep thinking about what happens next. Ashley's attempt at forging bribery allegations collapsed. Travis Michaels is cornered. But the orchard expansions aren't fully safe yet. There's chatter that certain orchard owners remain nervous. People don't always see logic. Some see only the swirl of rumors. James nodded. I've arranged a follow-up meeting with key orchard owners, a chance to reassure them with our real financials. They're not naive, but they want to see your sincerity. We can hold it at the orchard site. Show them the actual work in progress. Clayton's gaze flicked out the window again. Yes. Let them witness how legitimate this is. Meanwhile, I have to address the media more personally. I'll do a smaller presser clarifying the entire sabotage fiasco, highlight Ashley's manipulations, but I want to do it carefully, no gloating, just facts. In his mind, he also considered Amy. He'd seen glimpses of genuine regret. Perhaps she'd left the city entirely, or was staying with a friend. He debated how to reach her again quietly, without humiliating her further. Diana had advised caution. If she wants to come back, she'll contact you. Don't push. Yet paternal instinct tugged at him to ensure she was safe. His phone buzzed with a text from Amy's old number. Still in town. Need time. We'll reach out soon. Relief flooded him. At least she was alive, if not entirely well. Elsewhere, in the near-abandoned apartment, Ashley sat hunched at the table, staring at her phone for the 100th time that morning. Every news feed lambasted her as the disgraced ex-wife who forged evidence. Travis refused to pick up her calls. The bills lay overdue, her aunt's plentiful wardrobe now half sold off to pay for groceries. She wore a threadbare sweater so far from her glamorous image that she barely recognized her reflection. She scrolled the online tabloids. Ashley Hart's fake documents exposed facing potential legal action. Another headline read, From Socialite to Social Outcast, How Ashley's Betrayal Failed. It was all so humiliating. She started drafting texts to lawyers, but each one either refused to represent her or demanded an astronomical retainer she no longer had. A sudden knock at the door startled her. Hoping it might be Travis, she opened it and found instead a stern-faced process server. He handed her a summons. You've been served, Mrs. Hart, for potential criminal conspiracy to defame White and Rosen. Have a good day. The door slammed shut behind him, leaving Ashley trembling. She flung the summons aside, fury and despair warring in her chest. Now she faced potential criminal charges. She quickly tried calling Diana, the philanthropic attorney she knew from her social circles, but the call went to voicemail. She was truly alone. Her phone rang an unknown number. Desperate, she answered. Mrs. Hart, a female voice said. This is Delilah Ward, a journalist from Local 7 News. I'd like your side of the story. Everyone's talking about how you attempted to sabotage your husband's orchard expansions with forged bribery docs. But is there more to it, like domestic oppression, controlling finances? Ashley froze. This could be an opportunity. If she spun her narrative well, maybe she could sway public sympathy, paint Clayton as an overbearing spouse who forced her to extremes. But she also knew a misstep could bury her deeper in legal trouble. After a brief hesitation, she decided to take the risk. Fine, she breathed. I'll talk. But I want full anonymity until we meet. I'm not letting you film me blindsided. Delilah agreed. We can do an off-the-record meeting. You can share your version, and I'll see if it's newsworthy. Ashley's heart pounded. Another gamble, but she had no better plan. Deal. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., at the Haven Cafe, downtown. Late that afternoon, Clayton greeted the orchard owners on site at the farmland expansions. The warm sun bathed the orchard rows, and local news cameras hovered discreetly, capturing footage of legitimate farmland operations. James accompanied him, folder of authenticated documents in hand. A half-dozen orchard owners circled around, some previously unnerved by the scandal. Their spokesperson, an older man named Marcus Bloom, stepped forward. "Mr. Hart, we appreciate your invitation. We're unsettled by the fiasco these bribery claims. That press meltdown. We need reassurance we're not entangled in a ticking bomb." Clayton spoke calmly, projecting the authority of a man in control. "I understand your concerns. Let me show you the real finances, the real lease agreements, and how each step was cleared by proper channels. The state commissioners have publicly denied any wrongdoing. The orchard synergy is transparent." He took them on a walking tour, pointing out advanced irrigation systems, brand new storage facilities, the newly constructed shipping route. The orchard owners examined the signage, the equipment. Some nodded in approval. Meanwhile, local media filmed, capturing the authenticity of the operation. James handed out copies of an independent auditor's preliminary report, verifying no irregularities in White and Rosen's orchard expansions. Marcus Bloom read the report's summary, then turned to the cameras. "This looks solid. I see no evidence of bribes. We orchard owners appreciate Mr. Hart's willingness to show us everything firsthand. In my view, the rumors were fabricated." The press murmured approval. Clayton felt tension ease. So far, everything was going according to plan. Until a figure appeared near the orchard's edge, a tall, grim-faced man, Travis Michaels. Travis walked up to the group, ignoring the orchard owner's astonished looks. "Clayton," he sneered, "enjoying your victory lap?" Clayton stiffened. Security detail moved in, but Clayton signaled them to hold. "Why are you here, Travis? Didn't you get the memo? The orchard synergy is unstoppable." Travis squared his shoulders. "You might have survived Ashley's forged docks fiasco, but your orchard owners still might want to hear about your questionable expansions. Maybe there's something else." Marcus Bloom frowned. "What are you suggesting now, Michaels?" Travis glanced at the cameras, then at Clayton. "I have information that White and Rosen illegally purchased farmland from out-of-state investors who used shady tax shelters. Could be an IRS matter." Clayton's jaw tightened. Another rumor, no doubt. "That's baseless. I can show documented proof we used legitimate brokers. The farmland came from willing local sellers. There's no out-of-state shell companies behind it." Travis smirked darkly. Sure. We'll see if the IRS agrees. I've already reached out to certain tax authorities. They might open an investigation if they see enough suspicious patterns." Marcus Bloom exchanged glances with the other owners, some returning to uneasy suspicion. The media crew snapped photos, excitement stirring again. Another scandal? Clayton forced composure. "We're fully prepared for any investigation. Our records are pristine. If you want to waste the IRS's time, be my guest, but you'll only destroy your own credibility further." Travis glowered. "You think you've won everything, but you can't outrun the skeletons in your own closet. I know the orchard expansions cost more than you claim. Maybe you hid the extra capital somewhere." James stepped forward, voice measured. "We have a full legal team prepared to address every claim. You're welcome to contact them or the IRS or the FBI, anyone. You'll find nothing." Travis's lips curled. "We'll see. The game's not over. Enjoy your orchard for now." He turned on his heel and left. Marcus Bloom eyed Clayton warily. "Clayton, I believe you, but the orchard community hates drama. If there's an IRS inquiry, even if you're innocent, it could spook the markets." Clayton nodded, an edge of exhaustion creeping into his voice. "I understand. I'll reaffirm our transparency. This is the final storm, I hope." He ended the orchard tour, ensuring each owner left with a handshake, copies of legitimate documents, and a sense that White and Rosen stood tall. Yet deep down, Clayton braced for Travis's next stunt. Even if the new allegations were baseless, a formal investigation could stall orchard operations. He cursed the day Ashley and Travis crossed paths. Chapter 10. The next morning, Ashley arrived at the Haven Cafe, wearing large sunglasses and a scarf pulled high around her neck to avoid easy recognition. She spotted Delilah Ward, the local 7 News journalist, at a corner table with a laptop. The cafe was moderately busy, providing anonymity amid the buzz of conversations. Ashley took a seat opposite Delilah, her voice low. "You said I could share my side off the record first, so here I am." Delilah nodded, pressing record on a discreet audio device. "Yes, just a conversation. If it's compelling enough, I will see if we can run a piece that frames you as more than just a forger. But I can't promise sympathy if the facts remain strongly against you." Ashley's eyes flickered with desperation. "I was forced into forging those docs by circumstances. My husband Clayton, he financially cut me off, manipulated me through legal means. He always overshadowed me, left me no choice but to fight dirty. Is that so criminal?" "Some might say yes," Delilah replied carefully. "You were once a privileged socialite. People might argue you had resources to find legal recourse, yet you chose forgery instead. Why not a real lawyer, a real lawsuit, if your husband was so controlling?" Ashley's fingers clenched. I had personal reasons. He used my mistakes to trap me, humiliate me. I was angry, wanted payback." She paused, inhaling shakily. "Look, I'm not proud of forging evidence, but Clayton drove me to it. Some part of me wants that known." Delilah typed notes. "So you're claiming emotional duress. Do you have any actual proof he abused you financially beyond the standard prenuptial and property transfers?" Ashley hesitated. "I signed a settlement under extreme pressure. He threatened to reveal personal affairs and ruin my name if I didn't. That's blackmail too, right?" The journalist's eyes narrowed. "Potentially, but you also tried to ruin him with extramarital affairs and sabotage. It's messy. A court might see it as mutual extortion." Ashley's throat felt dry. "But if you want a sensational story, here it is. A powerful man used legal gymnastics to keep me from any fair share. I retaliated with the only tool I had left." Delilah switched off the recorder. "I see the tabloid angle. Yes. But your forging scandal overshadowed any sympathy. People see you as a liar. Unless you show real evidence of his wrongdoing, they won't buy it. Right now, you look like the villain." Ashley's shoulders sagged. "What if I can't find real evidence? The orchard expansions are apparently clean. I might have nothing." Delilah closed her laptop. "Then we have no story aside from a cautionary tale about a socialite's downfall." She rose, patted Ashley's shoulder with distant sympathy. "If you do find legitimate proof, call me. Otherwise, good luck." She left Ashley there, deflated, realizing she had no last weapon left to wield. Meanwhile, Amy spent her days couch-surfing with a childhood friend named Beth, who attended a local community college. Beth had welcomed her in for a while, but finances were tight. Amy felt awkward being a freeloader. She took up a part-time job in a retail store to cover basic expenses, a humbling experience after her once-a-lavish lifestyle. One evening, exhausted from a shift, she sat with Beth on a worn-out futon in Beth's cramped living area. They sipped cheap soda, the TV humming in the background. Beth studied her friend. "You okay? You've seemed down lately. I know it's tough adjusting from riches to rags, but you always look so haunted." Amy exhaled. I am haunted. By guilt, by everything I did to sabotage Dad, by how Mom's still spiraling. I keep thinking if only I'd refused earlier, maybe none of this would have escalated. Beth patted her arm. But you can't undo it now. You can only move forward. Have you considered going to your dad, showing him you're serious about changing? Maybe ask if you can move somewhere stable? She bit her lip, recalling her father's words. Time will tell if trust can be rebuilt. A swirl of hope and fear twisted in her stomach. He's offered a small olive branch, but I can't just waltz back and expect him to welcome me. And if Mom finds out, she'll see it as betrayal. Beth gave a knowing look. We're grown-ups, Amy. You can't revolve your life around your mom's manipulative needs anymore. She made her choices. Tears welled in Amy's eyes. I know. Part of me wants to walk away from her for good, but she's my mother. She's alone. She clutched the edge of the futon. I need to see if there's a better path for us both, but how? Beth hesitated. You could arrange a meeting with them both, your parents? Force them to talk it out? Amy laughed bitterly. They're well past talking politely. But maybe I can, I don't know, find a middle ground. If I can get Dad to promise not to press charges, maybe Mom can let go of these sabotage attempts. Her phone buzzed, jarring her. She read the screen, a text from Ashley. I'm at my wit's end. Need your help to get one final shot at Dad. Are you with me or not? Amy's heart clenched. She's still clinging to illusions. She typed back. I'm done. Stop. Don't do anything more or you'll end up in prison. The next morning, Travis Michaels paced in a dingy motel room, cursing Ashley for failing at the press conference. His orchard sabotage plan was in tatters. He needed a fresh angle, or he'd remain a bankrupt outcast. He peered at the laptop, scanning farmland records for any angle to claim White and Rosen committed tax evasion. He found nothing conclusive. Clayton's finances were maddeningly above board. Then a cunning thought struck him. Perhaps he could approach the out-of-state orchard owners who sold land to White and Rosen. If he could bribe them into testifying they were pressured or shortchanged, that might create enough suspicion for an IRS or state investigation. Even if false, it'd gum up White and Rosen's orchard plans. He dialed a contact who once mentioned an orchard seller from Colorado. Hey, got a question. You have a lead on that Colorado orchard family that sold land to White and Rosen? Think they'd be open to claiming the sale was coerced. The contact hemmed uncertainly. They might, if you offer them something. But they're a respectable family. Not sure they'll lie just for money. Travis's jaw clenched. We'll see about that. People do surprising things when times are tough. He ended the call, emailing a carefully crafted message to that orchard family. An offer of a payoff if they publicly implied wrongdoing by White and Rosen. This was a long shot, but Travis had nothing to lose now. Later that day, Amy gathered her courage and typed a message to both parents an invitation. I'm done with sabotage. I need us all to meet in a neutral place for a last talk. No yelling, no lawyers, no cameras. If you both truly cared about me once, you'll show up. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. at the City Botanical Garden. Please. She sent it, heart pounding. She received no immediate reply from Ashley, but her father texted back, I'll be there. A wave of relief mingled with worry. If only Ashley would come too. That evening she roamed the city aimlessly, stuck between fear of Ashley's reaction and longing for paternal acceptance. As dusk fell, she felt her phone vibrate a response from Ashley. This is pointless. But fine. I'll show. Don't expect miracles. Her breath caught. At least they'd come face to face. Perhaps one meeting could lead them away from the brink. The next day, the City Botanical Garden exuded peaceful energy flower beds in bloom, winding paths beneath old trees. At precisely 5 p.m., Amy stood near a quiet fountain, fidgeting, Clayton arrived first, wearing a casual blazer. He gave a slight nod to his daughter, who nodded back, awkward but determined. 15 minutes passed with no sign of Ashley. Clouds drifted overhead. Finally, she appeared on the path, wearing sunglasses and an expression of defiance. She approached stiffly, arms crossed. Amy exhaled. "Thank you both for coming. Let's just talk. No lawyers, no shouting." She gestured to a secluded bench near the fountain. They sat, tension crackling in the warm afternoon air. Clayton's voice was clipped. "I'm here because you asked. Let's keep this brief." Ashley's eyes flicked to him. "I only came because Amy insisted. Don't think I'm backing down." Amy raised her hands. "Dad, can you assure Mom you won't press criminal charges if she stops all sabotage, forging docs, or teaming with Travis? That maybe she can at least remain out of jail?" Clayton's gaze darkened. "I told you. That depends on her. If she ceases every malicious action, retracts the false statements, and signs an affidavit admitting the forgery was her idea, I might not pursue full legal punishment." Ashley bristled. "Admit everything? That's humiliating." "Is prison less humiliating?" he retorted, cold. Amy swallowed. "Mom, please, isn't it better to sign an admission? Let Dad not press charges and move on? The orchard expansions are unstoppable. Don't destroy yourself further." Ashley glared at Clayton. "And you give me what in return? A pathetic monthly stipend from that settlement? That's no life." Clayton's face remained impassive. "The settlement stands. I won't adjust it upward. You forfeited that chance. But you avoid prison or deeper ruin if you comply. Or fight me again, and I release every piece of evidence. Even if you avoid conviction, your reputation is permanently destroyed." She clenched her fists, tears welling. "You're unbelievably cruel." His reply was quiet. "I offered you courtesy. You turned it into betrayal. We all made choices. Now we face consequences." Amy looked between them, tears brimming in her own eyes. "Mom, please. I see you're hurting, but continuing to fight will only bury you deeper." In that vulnerable moment, Ashley's facade cracked. She bowed her head, shoulders trembling as silent tears slipped behind her sunglasses. "I hate him for reducing me to this," she choked out. "But you're right, I can't keep losing." Clayton inhaled slowly. "Does that mean you'll accept my terms?" Ashley hesitated, pride warring with desperation. Then she gave a single nod. "Fine. I'll sign your affidavit. I'll publicly retract my claims. Just promise me you'll spare me from actual jail." Clayton's voice softened a fraction. "If you truly stop, no new conspiracies with Travis, no last-minute stunts. If you do that, I'll finalize a no criminal charges clause." Amy exhaled relief, stepping forward to place a tentative hand on her mother's shoulder. "Mom!" Ashley turned her face away. "I'm only doing this for my own survival. Don't think I'm forgiving him." Clayton stiffened. "I don't expect your forgiveness. This is a ceasefire, nothing more." A hush fell, the sound of the fountain gurgling behind them. They'd reached an uneasy armistice. No more sabotage, no prison. But the emotional distance yawned wide. A day later, Ashley met with Clayton's lawyers in a small law office to sign an official affidavit, confessing to forging bribery documents and renouncing any sabotage attempts. She avoided eye contact, scrawling her signature with trembling hands. The lawyers explained how, in return, Clayton would drop defamation or forgery charges, preserving her from criminal court. She nodded dully, face etched with regret. Then, in a separate room, she recorded a short statement clarifying no bribery by White and Rosen, to be published if necessary. Afterward, she exited the building, stepping into an overcast afternoon. Free from prison, perhaps, but bound to a lonely, modest life, her grand illusions gone. She slipped away, ignoring the curious stares of passers-by who recognized the disgraced socialite. Meanwhile, Amy quietly texted her father an update. "Mom signed the affidavit. She's done with sabotage." "Thank you, Dad." He responded. "You made the right choice encouraging her. I hope you're all right. Let me know if you need anything." The simple words warmed her heart more than she expected. Yet she also felt a pang of sorrow for her mother, who was left isolated. Ashley might never heal from her bitterness. Amy realized she might not fully fix that, but at least jail was off the table. Travis Michaels, however, remained a loose end. He'd parted from Ashley, but still harbored resentments. In a final twist, he tried contacting orchard owners from Colorado with an offer to smear White and Rosen, but no one bit. The orchard owners, seeing how thoroughly Travis was discredited, ghosted him. Furious, Travis found himself blacklisted from the orchard industry. His last message to Ashley went unanswered. He boarded a bus out of town, plotting revenge from afar, but with no real power left. At White and Rosen's tower, Clayton prepared a final statement for the media. It would mention the conclusive end of all sabotage attempts, the orchard synergy's success, and the resolution of false allegations. He decided not to release the humiliating affidavit Ashley had signed, choosing to keep it private. Why? Because, as Diana advised, mercy is sometimes better for the soul than vengeance. Standing behind the same press podium as weeks ago, Clayton delivered a shorter, calmer address. The orchard synergy stands fully validated. All claims of wrongdoing are retracted. Our new shipping corridor will open next month, expected to boost local farmland trade. We appreciate our partners and vow continued transparency. No mention of Ashley or Travis by name. The reporters, though curious, sensed the matter was effectively settled. They asked a few follow-ups, but Clayton gave polite, succinct answers. At the end, they applauded politely, the final note of a scandal that had once threatened to upend everything. However, as Clayton stepped off the podium, a young reporter hurried over. "Mr. Hart, one question. Are you reconciling with your daughter, Amy?" The cameras turned expectantly. Clayton paused, gazing at the bright lights. He considered how to phrase it. "Amy and I are in contact. We're taking it one step at a time. I hope in time she finds her own path." "And your wife?" the reporter pressed. He tightened his jaw, voice steady. "She's no longer my wife, legally speaking. Our personal matters remain private. That's all I can say." The reporter nodded, stepping away. Clayton exhaled, relieved. He'd said enough. He spotted James in the wings, giving him a reassuring nod. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he glimpsed a slender figure, Amy, lurking near the back, looking both nervous and determined. After the press event, Clayton made his way through the thinning crowd, searching for Amy. He found her in a quiet corner near the refreshment table. She fidgeted with the strap of a simple handbag, a far cry from the luxury accessories she once flaunted. They stood face to face, awkwardness and a fragile hope between them. "You came," he said softly. "I wanted to see your final statement, how it ended," she replied. You didn't throw Mom under the bus. Not publicly, anyway." He shrugged. "I was never out to humiliate her, just to protect myself in the orchard. Now that she's conceded, I have no reason to broadcast her confession." She lowered her gaze. "I appreciate it, even if she doesn't say so." Clayton cleared his throat. "What about you? Where do you go from here? Are you still staying with your friend Beth?" Amy nodded. Yeah, I have a part-time job. I'm trying to figure out college, maybe apply to a community college for real this time. Earn my way. She inhaled, tears threatening. I know I don't deserve your help, but if I do get serious about my education, do you think you could help a little? Not financially, but I guess just guidance? Clayton blinked, a gentle stirring in his chest. If you're genuine, yes. I'm not paying for extravagance, but if you enroll in legitimate courses, come to me with a real plan, I'll see what can be done. In time, maybe we'll restore some trust. Her lips trembled into a relieved smile. Thank you. I'm determined to do it right this time. No manipulations, no shortcuts. He placed a cautious hand on her shoulder, offering a half embrace. She melted into it, tears escaping, though she quickly wiped them. For a fleeting moment, father and daughter stood there, unified in the hope that their fractured bond might one day heal. Nearby, Diana and James watched quietly, hearts touched by the sight. The orchard's synergy soared, and White and Rosen stood stronger than ever, but the real victory might be something more personal, a flicker of genuine reconciliation, overshadowing the months of betrayal. Epilogue. Days later, orchard shipments began rolling out, just as Clayton had envisioned. The farmland corridor bustled with trucks delivering fresh produce to distant markets. Media coverage turned positive, praising White and Rosen's innovative approach. Investors lined up to expand further. Ashley, living alone in the modest apartment Amy fully moved out to stay with Beth, found a job as a low-level clerk in a marketing firm that didn't mind scandal as long as she worked cheaply. She scrolled social media, seeing photos of orchard expansions and the orchard owners beaming beside Clayton at some celebratory event. She felt a pang of regret that it wasn't her standing there, proud of a project she once dismissed. This was her new reality, a consequence she'd carry for years. Travis Michaels left town, rumored to be floating around smaller orchard states, trying to hustle new deals, but no one wanted to touch him. He faded into obscurity. Amy, step by step, reclaimed a sense of direction. She enrolled in a 2-year associate program at a local college, taking business fundamentals. She studied diligently, no longer bored or dismissive. On weekends, she'd occasionally text Clayton with questions, and he'd reply with thorough advice. Slowly, a real father-daughter dynamic took shape, tentative, cautious, but honest. As for Clayton, each sunrise found him dividing his time between White and Rosen's orchard expansions and quiet reflection on how his relentless drive had contributed to the family's collapse. Vowing not to repeat such blind spots, he tried nurturing healthier relationships with employees and perhaps in time, with his daughter. On a crisp morning, he arrived at the Orchard Synergy's official grand opening ceremony. The new shipping corridor shone with fresh signage, orchard trucks lined up, and local officials cut ribbons to applause. Reporters asked about last month's sabotage fiasco, but Clayton merely gave a polite, measured response. We overcame challenges. Our Orchard Synergy stands on integrity. We look forward, not backward. In the crowd, he spotted Amy, quietly watching. When the ceremony ended, she approached, face lit by a genuine smile. "Congratulations, Dad," she said softly. "You did it." He smiled back. "We did it. You prevented worse sabotage. Thank you for choosing honesty in the end." She blinked back tears. "I'm trying to keep choosing it from now on." He offered her a small orchard-labeled baseball cap. "A corny souvenir," he teased. She put it on, laughter mingling with tears. The orchard workers bustled around them, loading produce, ringing with life. As father and daughter strolled along the orchard path, they realized some seeds of trust could grow again, albeit slowly. The orchard expansions thrived, White and Rosen soared, and for all the betrayals that had nearly uprooted the family, A new beginning took root in honest soil. Chapter 11. The orchard synergy thrived for several weeks, shipping produce statewide. Investors applauded White and Rosen's brilliance in tying corporate law with farmland expansions. Clayton's daily routine involved early morning orchard visits, midday firm meetings, and late evenings finalizing deals for further expansions. Yet beneath the corporate success lay tangled emotional threads. Ashley's isolation, Amy's cautious bond, and the faint hope that not all was lost. Diana visited Clayton in his corner office. She commended him on refusing to publicly humiliate Ashley with her affidavit. "You showed mercy. That's good for your soul and your reputation." He gave a small nod, flipping through orchard performance charts. "Yes, though mercy for me doesn't mean forgetting what she did. And I do keep track of her out of caution. My private investigators confirm she's working at a marketing firm under minimal pay. She's not yet plotting anything new. But if she does, we'll be ready." Diana looked thoughtful. "And Amy?" Clayton managed a half smile. "We talk. She's actually applying for an internship this summer, non-White and Rosen, but business-related. She'll prove herself on her own. I might help discreetly if needed, but I want her to stand on her own feet." Diana nodded approval. "That's wise. Let her earn it, but know you're there if she's truly changed." She hesitated. "And you, Clayton? Have you had any personal regrets? Any sense that your relentless orchard dream contributed to your family's breakdown?" His face tightened. "I do realize my obsession and neglect gave them justification to resent me. But that doesn't excuse betrayal. I'll keep working on being present for those who matter, like employees, like maybe one day my daughter. As for Ashley, we're done." Diana accepted that. "Understood." One evening, Ashley found herself alone after an exhausting day at her marketing clerk job. The tiny apartment reeked of instant meals and loneliness. She scrolled her phone contacts, hesitating on a name. Amy. Memories flooded her sweet child turned co-conspirator, then turned on her. Or maybe Ashley had turned on Amy first. She wasn't sure anymore. Finally, she dialed. It rang and rang. No answer. She tried not to feel wounded. Amy must still be angry or simply out. She typed a text. "I'm sorry. Please talk. I'm lost." She stared at it, then hit send. An hour later, Amy replied, "I can't see you. I'm building a new life away from sabotage. If you truly want to talk, do it with Dad's knowledge. I won't do secrets anymore." Ashley's heart pounded. She was nowhere near ready to face Clayton's wrath or the final blow of his condemnation. She typed back, "I can't handle him right now. Let me talk to you alone. Please?" But no response came. Swallowing a lump in her throat, Ashley realized how thoroughly she'd alienated her daughter. She began weeping softly, regret soaking her mind. Pride still whispered that she'd been wronged, that Clayton was controlling, but a louder voice of reality told her she'd made disastrous choices. The question, was it too late to fix anything? Across the state line in a shabby motel, Travis Michaels nursed a cheap drink, rereading the orchard owner's rejection emails. Everyone had blacklisted him. He was out of money, out of time. Some new orchard expansions in another region might let him start fresh, but he needed capital. Capital he didn't have. He scrolled his phone, tempted to call Ashley again. She, too, had blocked him. Everyone had deserted him after the fiasco. They used me, he thought bitterly, ignoring the fact that he'd tried to exploit them first. In a last-ditch attempt, he posted an online tell-all about the orchard expansions, claiming White and Rosen used mafia-like tactics. But the post gained little traction. People demanded proof, which he lacked. If anything, netizens mocked him as a disgruntled ex-partner who lost to Clayton. Furious and humiliated, Travis realized he might have to vanish or face lawsuits from White and Rosen if they saw his libelous post. He took it down within hours, slinking deeper into irrelevance. Weeks rolled by. Clayton orchestrated a grand unveiling for the Orchard Corridor's new distribution hub. This event, bigger than all prior announcements, showcased local produce and official endorsements. City officials, orchard reps, and top White & Rosen partners attended in a celebratory atmosphere. Amy appeared quietly among the crowd, though not at the VIP tables. She watched from the sidelines, her heart warming at the orchard's success. She recalled how close she'd come to destroying all this. Never again, she vowed. Clayton took the stage, cutting a ceremonial ribbon. The crowd cheered. Cameras flashed. He delivered a speech about progress, community, and synergy between corporate law and agriculture. No mention of sabotage or family strife, just forward-looking optimism. People applauded, a sense of new beginnings permeating the air. During the post-ribbon mingle, Amy found courage to approach him. She offered a shaky smile. "Congratulations, Dad. This is impressive." Clayton's gaze softened. "Thank you for coming. It means a lot." She shifted awkwardly. "I just wanted to show support, to prove I respect what you built." He nodded. "I see that. I appreciate it. Maybe we can talk more later, about your own plans, college, a possible internship." Her eyes lit with gratitude. "I'd like that." Suddenly, a small commotion erupted near the orchard side. They turned, spotting a solitary figure in tattered clothes, flanked by security. Ashley. She had come uninvited, apparently half desperate. Security tried to stop her from entering the restricted area, but she argued, "I just want to speak to my daughter." Clayton frowned. "Let her pass just for a moment." Ashley approached, trembling with a mixture of defiance and sorrow. "Amy, I had to see you." She cast a wary glance at Clayton. "You wanted no secrets, so here I am, in front of him." I'm sorry." Amy's eyes widened. She stepped forward, uncertain. "Mom, what are you doing here? Are you trying something again?" Ashley shook her head fervently. "No sabotage. I have no illusions left. I have nobody else. No job security, no money beyond that pitiful allowance. I feel lost. I know I caused this, but I'm desperate for a real conversation." Clayton observed the scene from a short distance, letting them speak but ready to intervene if needed. Amy's heart twisted at her mother's haggard appearance. She recalled the glamorous woman who once taught her cunning, but now she was reduced to a fragile wreck. "Mom, I can't fix your life. Dad gave you a chance to avoid jail. That's something." Ashley's eyes filled with tears. "I know, and I thank him, ironically. But I'm alone. Could we talk, maybe? Just you and me. No conspiracies, I swear. I just want my daughter back in my life somehow." Amy glanced at Clayton. He gave a subtle nod as if saying, "It's your choice." She turned back to Ashley. "Okay, but I won't go behind Dad's back. If you need a friend, I'll meet you in public places occasionally. We'll keep it honest. I have new rules. No manipulations, no bashing Dad, no sabotage talk. If you can accept that, maybe we can build a civil relationship piece by piece." Ashley collapsed in relief, tears streaming. Yes, whatever boundaries you need. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you." Their emotional moment played out under the orchard's bright sun, orchard workers and guests glancing curiously. Clayton stayed back, letting them have space. He felt a complicated mixture of relief, caution, and sadness. Ashley, seeing him from the corner of her eye, approached hesitantly. "Clayton," she swallowed. I appreciate you not pressing charges. I can't undo what I did, but I regret it. Deeply." He nodded curtly. "You made your bed, Ashley. I won't hamper your minimal living arrangement or your job. But we're done. I do this mostly for Amy's sake." She bowed her head. "Understood. I'm sorry." That single apology, though meager, was all she could muster. Clayton accepted it without warmth, but with finality. She left quietly, escorted out by security to avoid press chaos. Yet for the first time, she departed without the taste of burning hatred. Perhaps humility was the only path left. Days and weeks passed. The Orchard synergy soared, delivering a windfall to White and Rosen's bottom line. The scandal died down. Travis Michaels disappeared from the Orchard scene, and the public largely forgot the fiasco. Ashley took baby steps rebuilding her life, abiding by the settlement's terms to avoid further legal trouble. She occasionally met Amy for coffee or lunch, strictly abiding by the no manipulations, no sabotage rule. Their relationship remained tense, but civil. Clayton continued focusing on the Orchard corridor, forging new alliances, planning expansions into other crops. Freed from personal sabotage, he poured energy into philanthropic gestures, funding scholarships for local farm youth, investing in rural development. If he was honest, part of him did it out of guilt for ignoring people's personal lives for so long. Amy discovered a surprising interest in agricultural marketing. She used her part-time job and college classes to explore how orchard goods could be promoted ethically. Her father noticed, quietly encouraging her with resources articles, contacts, even friendly orchard owners who could show her the ropes. They texted more frequently, bridging the gap, one conversation at a time. Eventually, a crisp afternoon saw father and daughter strolling side by side through the orchard, discussing a potential internship for her next summer. She listened eagerly to his advice, asked thoughtful questions, and for once, there was no underlying scheme. Just honest interest. Clayton felt a gentle warmth bloom in his chest. After everything, maybe they could salvage a true bond. High above them, branches rustled in a soft breeze, sunlight filtering through leaves onto the well-tended rows. The orchard expansions that nearly tore them apart now provided a stage for a cautious family healing. They'd never be the same family as before. Betrayal left scars, but new seeds of trust and respect had been planted in this orchard, and perhaps, with care, they could grow into something resilient and real. Chapter 12. A month passed quietly. No fresh scandals erupted. Ashley continued her meager clerk job, living humbly, occasionally meeting Amy for short visits. She hadn't once tried to sabotage Clayton again, seemingly resigned to the life she had left. Meanwhile, Amy balanced work, classes, and occasional orchard visits. She found comfort in the orchard's calm environment, ironically the same place she once conspired to undermine. Clayton sat in his condo one late evening, finalizing orchard profitability reports. He felt a sense of closure. Orchard synergy thrived, the sabotage fiasco ended, Ashley's forging attempts thoroughly discredited. Travis Michaels vanished from their immediate concerns. Amy was forging an honest path, stepping away from manipulative impulses. The chaos of betrayal had settled into a quieter normalcy. He clicked open a letter from his philanthropic lawyer, referencing a potential new charitable orchard project in a neighboring region. He considered letting Amy help. She might earn genuine experience. Perhaps in another year, if she proved reliable, he'd let her step into a minor role at White and Rosen or at the orchard, provided James and the firm's other partners agreed. His phone chimed, a text from Amy. "Dad, can we talk tomorrow? I have questions about orchard marketing for a class project." He smiled slightly, replying, "Sure. Meet me at the orchard at 4 p.m. The orchard had become their neutral ground, a place of growth instead of conflict. Another step, he thought, another step. The next day, Amy arrived at the orchard in well-worn sneakers and a simple blouse. She carried a notebook brimming with notes on marketing strategies. Clayton greeted her with quiet warmth, leading her to a shaded picnic table near a lemon grove. She spread her notes. I'm analyzing supply chains, branding orchard products, ensuring ethical sourcing. It's interesting. I never imagined I'd care about orchard supply lines. She gave a self-conscious laugh. I used to think orchard talk was boring. Clayton nodded, scanning her bullet points. You have good insights. Maybe you got some of this from me, though I was too busy to realize you had potential interest. She lowered her gaze. I was too busy being rebellious. I'm sorry, but I'm done blaming you for everything. I see how my own choices led me astray. He gently placed a hand on her notebook. Mistakes behind us. Let's move forward. If you continue solid work, I might personally sponsor a small orchard marketing pilot project for your final class assignment. You'd have real data, real experience. Her eyes glowed. That would be amazing. But I want to earn it, not just because you're my dad. He chuckled. You will earn it. I'll treat you like any outside consultant. Show me a real proposal. We'll talk budgets. She broke into a broad smile, gratitude radiating off her. For the first time since the fiasco began, she felt valued in a legitimate way. While Amy immersed in orchard marketing, Ashley found an old friend had emailed her. Cassandra Lee, a woman from high society days, now running a mid-level PR firm. Cassandra offered a small-time PR job, a chance to pivot Ashley's experience with orchard drama into specialized crisis PR, ironically helping other disgraced clients manage negative publicity. Ashley stared at the email, half in disbelief. A job that matched her skill set spinning narratives, albeit legally. It was modest pay, but better than her current clerk role. She'd have to relocate to a different city, away from memories of humiliation. Could she do it? She typed a quick response. I'm interested, but can I start in 2 weeks? Need to wrap up some personal affairs. She hesitated before hitting send, a small flame of hope flickering. If she took this job, maybe she'd truly leave sabotage behind. Yet she dreaded telling Amy. Her daughter had begun re-establishing a fragile relationship with Clayton. If Ashley moved away, would that relationship fade further? But did she have a choice? Days later, Ashley summoned the courage to meet with Clayton privately, face to face. She reasoned that if she was leaving town, better to finalize a peaceful truce. She texted him politely. Need a brief meeting to talk practicalities. 2 p.m. Tomorrow, at the Consulate Cafe? 30 minutes, if that. Clayton considered. The orchard synergy was stable. Ashley hadn't caused more trouble. He replied, Fine, 2 p.m., 30 minutes max. At the cafe, the tension was palpable. They sat at a small corner table, awkwardly avoiding eye contact at first. Ashley drew a shaky breath. I might be moving soon. I got a potential job in crisis PR for a friend's firm. I just wanted you to know so you don't think it's another scheme. I'm done with sabotage, forging docs, all of it. Clayton studied her face, lined with stress, humility. If that's true, I'm glad you found a direction. Less chance for conflict. She nodded, fiddling with her coffee cup. Yes. Also, about Amy, she's forging a new path with orchard marketing, apparently. I won't stand in her way. I'm actually proud, in a strange sense. He swallowed. I appreciate you not pressuring her to sabotage again. She's showing promise. They sipped coffee in silence for a moment. Two people once married for decades, now separated by a canyon of betrayal. At last, Ashley mustered the words. I'm sorry for the havoc. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know I realize how far I sank. Clayton's lips pressed into a thin line. I accept your acknowledgement. Let's keep it at that. We can stay civil for Amy's sake. I won't hamper your job. Just no more lies. Tears glistened in Ashley's eyes. No more lies, she echoed softly. They parted with a stiff nod, a final shred of civility bridging them, enough to keep a fragile peace. Meanwhile, Travis tested one last scheme, coaxing a rumored orchard investor from Colorado with the promise of explosive evidence on White and Rosen's expansions. He scheduled a hush-hush meeting at a roadhouse on the state line, hoping to lure them into paying for non-existent scandal. But the investor turned out to be an undercover detective flagged by White and Rosen's security network. The moment Travis tried presenting faked orchard records, the detective revealed his badge and slapped cuffs on him for attempted extortion. Thus ended Travis Michaels's orchard sabotage spree. Word spread quickly. He was arrested, facing multiple charges of fraud and extortion. Clayton's orchard corridor faced no further threats from that quarter. A local newspaper printed the headline, "Disgraced Saboteur, Travis Michaels apprehended, no evidence found of White and Rosen wrongdoing." With that, any final ripple of orchard scandal vanished. As orchard expansions flourished, Amy mustered the courage to present her marketing pilot project, Proposal, to Clayton. She wore a simple business outfit borrowed from Beth and a determined expression. They met in a smaller conference room at White and Rosen's tower, a place she once dreaded. James joined, curious about the younger heart's attempt at redemption. Amy laid out a modest plan to brand orchard produce with local farm stories, building an emotional connection with consumers. She showed budgets, timelines, potential ROI. James raised an eyebrow, impressed. Clayton leaned forward, eyes keen. He asked pointed questions. Amy answered carefully, referencing her business studies. At the end, James nodded. "I see real potential here. A pilot run with a small orchard batch might generate valuable data, might cost under $20,000. If the ROI hits 150%, we can scale. What do you think, Clayton?" Clayton eyed his daughter. "I think it's well researched. The orchard synergy can afford a small pilot. Let's do it." Amy beamed, tears shining in her eyes. "Thank you. I won't let you down." He extended a handshake, formal yet containing paternal pride. "Consider this your first real chance. Make it count." The Quiet. Epilogue. Months later, the orchard synergy soared to new heights. Amy's pilot marketing project showed promising returns, attracting attention from local media that highlighted the orchard's personal touch. She proved her capability, working tirelessly to gain trust from orchard staff. Step by step, she earned a name as a driven apprentice, not just the boss's daughter. Ashley moved out of state for the PR job. Rumors said she was coping, channeling her media-savvy skills into legitimate crisis management instead of sabotage. Over time, she and Amy occasionally exchanged polite texts, each update less tense. They weren't close, but at least not at war. Travis Michaels served time for attempted extortion. The orchard owners slept easy. Clayton often reflected on how close the orchard corridor came to ruin from within his own family. He never forgot the pain, but let it shape him into a more attentive leader. He also spent more time guiding Amy, ensuring she truly changed. One crisp autumn evening, father and daughter walked the orchard rows, concluding a day of marketing research. Golden light filtered through the orchard trees, a peaceful hush enveloping them. Amy wore practical boots, carrying a clipboard with survey results. She broke the silence. "Dad, I want to say I'm grateful you gave me this second chance. I know I hurt you deeply. I can never fully repay that debt, but I promise I'll keep proving I've changed." Clayton's gaze softened. "I see it in your actions every day. People can change with the right motivation. Just remember, trust is fragile. Treat it with care." She nodded, choking up. They reached a vantage point where the orchard corridor stretched in a scenic vista, trucks humming softly in the distance. The orchard expansions thrived fruit-laden trees, content workers, synergy realized. In that moment, father and daughter stood side by side, the orchard's success a living symbol of perseverance after betrayal. Amy smiled through tears. I love this orchard now. Strange how something I once tried to sabotage became my new passion. Clayton smiled faintly. Sometimes the biggest mistakes lead us to unexpected growth. Let's keep it that way. They lingered in comfortable silence, the orchard wind rustling the leaves overhead as day faded into twilight. The orchard felt alive with potential and second chances, overshadowing the dark memories of sabotage. Betrayal had exacted a heavy cost from the Hart family, but from those ashes, new seeds of wisdom, humility, and genuine connection sprouted. In the end, the orchard's synergy didn't just transform farmland economics, it transformed hearts that once threatened to tear each other apart. Ashley lived with the consequences, Travis languished in legal trouble, and Amy found redemption, forging a future with her father's cautious guidance. And Clayton, though scarred, stood resolute, a man who had protected what was his and learned to keep his family's loyalty in check. The orchard corridor shimmered under the final rays of the setting sun, a testament that not all seeds cast in darkness are doomed. Some can grow into a bountiful harvest, if met with the right mixture of honesty, accountability, and a willingness to change.